And everybody, welcome back to the best damn NFL show on YouTube, NFL Rush with your boys from East Coast Gridiron. I'm your host, everybody's favorite couch quarterback, here at my man. Oh, wait a second. Wait a damn second. Is this Manny two times?
Yes, it is, sir. He actually made it.
Oh, my Lord. He's here, live in the flesh. I can't believe it. So welcome back, Manny. How have you been these last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I've been good. How are you guys, man?
You been good? That's good, man. That's good. Let me I think y'all are turned down a little bit, but let me go ahead and turn y'all up. But anyways, got Sore right here in the smack dab in the middle of the sandwich like every week. And then we got my man and then we got my man Vic 3. What is happening, fellas?
Nothing much, man. Enjoying the middle of the week. Can't wait for this week to be over with already.
Facts. Is are these guys low to anybody else in the chat? Or is it just me? Is it that I'm just am I overpowering everything? Hold on, let me.
Vic seems quiet, but I don't know.
Am I quiet? Am I quiet?
I think I can turn you up, Vic.
Fish saying turn the boys up. Miss Sweet Pea is saying yeah, so yeah, turn us up, brother.
I got you. I'm gonna turn y'all up. I'm gonna turn y'all up one time for the one time. So here we go.
Call us Gorilla Radio, brother.
There we go.
It's that Dave Chappelle skit. Turn my headphones up.
Yeah,
Turn them up.
let me listen to it back real quick to make sure everybody's
Dave
good.
Chappelle skit. Turn my headphones up.
Yeah,
Turn them up.
let me listen to it back real quick.
Oh, I like the feedback.
All right.
We're in the multiverse now.
Nah, I think y'all are good now. I think
brings
give
us
us
to
a
part
thumbs up
40.
in the chat if everybody's good. If everybody's good, I know my mic's good. We've been having some technical difficulties the last 2 days. Sorry for the unprofessionalism. I sometimes you deserve to fumble on the 1 yard line, and I've been fumbling on the 1 yard line. But hey, it is what it is. We are back. So shout out to the chat, man. Miss Sweet Pea in here. My man, Fishing Football, Too Evil, what's up? I need to know who you thought was the clown, bro, on the wide receiver list, or who that reminded you of. Drew, what's up, man? How you feeling? They said, "Oh my God, it's Manny."
He's alive.
Hold on. Can we focus on the cap? How it's just so eloquently just placed. It's not really on. It's just adorning his head.
It's on my head, man. Let it slide.
Just do me a solid. Just like put the head in the cap. Let's see how that looks.
This is my
Or
look.
you don't want to mess the curls. I
Nah,
understand.
that's exactly what it is.
I totally understand.
That's exactly what it is, Vic. Listen, he knows his time with his curls are short. He's gonna appreciate every second he's got with them.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Listen, 1 out of 3 American or males experience male pattern baldness, and Vic, you're already bald, so you're out of the equation.
Oh no, sir! I jumped ahead of the game even before there was a sign of baldness. I said, you know what? Once you shave it off, man, you get that Lex Luthor look. Come on, man.
Correct. But I'm saying you're already bald, so you're out of the equation.
Heck yeah, like I said, man,
you look at Dante and I, and it's like, all right, well, clearly those two. So, man, you're the 1 out of 3 right now on this panel. I hate to break it to you, brother.
Yeah.
Sad day when those corners go.
Mm-hmm. Man, I saw not to talk about somebody's corners, but it was somebody at a hockey game because the Hershey Bears are in the Calder Cup Finals and they play Game 7 tonight. So me and my wife will be watching that.
Do they throw the Bears on the rink yet?
That's only one time a year they do that for a charity.
Brother.
So, but they're in California now playing the Firebirds.
They're playing my car.
And Coachella Valley Firebirds, I believe that's what they're called. But anyways, there's this dude on there, and like his corners were gone, bro. I mean, he had the Homer Simpson, just like those 3 little hairs. I'm like, bro, who told him that this was a great look? But that didn't be talking about people though. But to each
it's
their
like
own.
that one scene in Spider-Man where Tobey Maguire's holding on to the train, and he's like. That was the man's hairline right there. He was holding on for dear life.
Oh, facts.
Listen, Johnny, I gotta face the facts. When it's time for those corners are gone, listen, just let it go. You don't need to have that Friar Tuck look. That's crazy. We can't be out in these streets with a comb over. Come on, fellas, let's get it together.
Not the Fryer look.
Homer
He said, how can I
Simpson.
help you today, my son?
Drew said, "Dog tired, boss, but good. Hope all is well with you and the crew." You already know, man. I don't know how many videos I've dropped today. I think it was 17. For everybody to go back and rewatch, because I know a lot of y'all can't join the live streams. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and hopefully you are okay with us just dominating your sub box, because I like to think here that we are the most, if not the most, outside of ESPN. We are one of the most active football channels on YouTube. I would say that we pretty much are outside of the big networks, and I appreciate that, because my guys up here give us tons of content to talk about, and we bring it to you. So shout out to Key, she's in the building. Big Fridge, Slay's hat look like it doesn't fit. See that? Look like he work at a Burger King, my man. He look like he the one taking the orders, bro.
He put on his baseball cap like it's a cowboy hat. Like he just rested on top.
It looked like the Arby's hat, bro. You got the Arby's.
The cowboy hat. You're able to press that. You're able to snug it a little bit.
You got that 45-year-old, like, you know what I'm saying, dad look right now, the way that cap's sitting.
Hey, man.
What's that one picture in the exact same cap where he's like looking into the camera and he's just like, he's got the proud dad. He's like, that's fine. We've got that picture. It's saved somewhere.
Hey, man, shout out to the sponsor, Ettenwolf. If you guys don't know about Ettenwolf, there'll be more information, and I will have more about this product in the description section of some of our videos. We're waiting. We're going to be doing a promo for this tool.
We'll actually be able to use it live in person next week.
Yep. So the next week, but this is an automatic like air filtration device that fills up like any type of athletic without having to pause here. I'm trying to find the best words to say. Just let me just go ahead and say footballs, baseballs, not baseballs. You can't fill up baseballs, basketballs, anything anything, man. You know what?
Fellas, this hot weather season, you know what I'm saying? Balls are gonna be played. We're here. We're here.
Oh my God, bro! There's no way to get around it.
Any sports equipment you need inflated, Ettenwolf's got you, because you can select what type of equipment you want inflated. You can select the PSI; it'll automatically do it for you,
and it'll automatically deflate it for you as well. So when I take my flight to Myrtle Beach to meet up with my guys outside of Manny up here, man, this is just pause.
Now you too can be like Tom Brady and deflate everything.
But yeah, it's awesome, man. Like you just put the setting in, and whatever PSI is recommended for the ball that you have, plug it up, and it's got you, man. Shout out to Ettenwolf, man, for the memes. You know what I'm saying?
Don't kill me here, man.
I know. I'm sorry.
What did Shia LaBeouf say? Do it, just do it.
So in about a week and a half,
will be in part 2. Write that down, Nick.
In about a week and a half, 2 weeks, we'll actually have a video in depth on the product itself, us using it, us actually playing 2v2. It's gonna be cool.
Can we make a stupid little like skit? Like just some stupid infomercial with it, just like, oh no, my football's deflated, and then Vic, just pops in the frame like, don't worry, or just something stupid like that.
Oh yeah, they didn't say
stupid TV commercial.
They didn't. The guy my Connect has been really nice. He sent the thing out for free. I tested on a couple of products in the home. So when we do get out in the field, you know what I'm saying, and actually start playing, and yeah, we'll show you how it's done. When we're gonna make like a little info commercial for them. It's gonna be really cool. But if you guys haven't had anything like this, I mean, it's really nice and small and compact. I mean, you can literally, it doesn't take out like any. This is the product right here. Bam, you turn it on. The needles are already in there too, like the little things. So it's like everything you need is right here. So it's nice. Put it in your gym bag. Never had to worry about your balls being deflated ever again.
Hold up. I like Fish's slogan right here. I'm a crack field goal from an Ettenwolf filled ball. You too can have your sports equipment inflated by Ettenwolf. Link below in the description.
So now that we got past all of that, man, just for the memes.
I did television in a previous life. I don't know.
Promo code pause.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask him, can he give me a promo code that says pause? That would be hilarious.
Pause in all caps.
I'm gonna hit him up tonight and be like, hey, if we can get a custom code called pause, I'm sure we could sell at least about 2 or 3 of these bad boys. Mm-hmm. But the code is supposed to get you a pretty good percentage off. I think it was like 30% off or something like that, and they mark it down for you can get it for like $14, man, which I think is an absolute steal, especially for a kid that does play organized sports or with their friends. You never have to worry about ever again. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, me and Vic know, man. And then you just don't know. You don't have like a meter or anything that tells you what recommended it doesn't tell you. This, you put it in there, press the button.
Yeah, that feels good enough.
It's like a microwave. You know what I'm saying? You set the time and you walk out.
Hey, if you're like me, you know what I'm saying? If you're a parent who coaches your kids, you know what I'm saying? Coaches a lot of children. That's something that comes in handy, especially, with sports. You're going to need to, do a lot of things with the equipment. Got to make sure maintain, make sure that they're at the right levels. At the end of the season, like we said, it deflates. So, yeah, that helps with a lot of parents who, are / coaches, or for those coaches out there, or for those people within, like counselors, whatever. You need that. Hey, that's a great product to have.
Mm-hmm. So,
and it's kind of like what Fishin said, because, again, it can inflate and deflate. So if you're experiencing storage problems, you can quickly deflate, and then when you need to use it, quickly inflate. When you're done, deflate again to save storage. So, and other PE coaches out there, is the product for you.
And key, they have a special pin that does come with it that is guaranteed not to break. But if it does, you could put actually 2 pins in there. So just in case one does break or gets damaged, you have one on the fly that you can replace and fill it up too. So it's dope. $13, man. $13-14 will get you guys that code soon. But shout out to them. They've been super nice. They reached out to us, and since it is related to one of the sports that we do love, I didn't mind taking on the responsibility of having them on as a partner of ours. So everybody knows about the float posters, and now we got Ettenwolf that's here with the products. They believed in us enough, and we believe in their product, and it's great. So, but let's go ahead. Y'all don't want to hear none of that. Y'all want to go and help us move right into the topics for today. Vic's got several great questions for today's show as well. We're going to be talking about Marcus Peters and Stephon Diggs, and we're going to be talking about Hayden's boy Jordan Love here a little later, and then what everybody came for today. And I like to think of this as like a tour that we're on when we do these predictions. We're on our prediction and rankings tour right now. Our predictions for the college football, and then for NFL, we've been doing our rankings. So we have defensive linemen today, which everybody's list is different. Everybody's, bro. So this is gonna be cool.
I thought we agreed.
On this list this week, wild, bro. Wild. I'm telling you.
Are we that far apart, or do we have like maybe 1 or 2 interchangeable pieces?
The gap level by week to week so far it's been like this. You'd be like, okay, I see. Some of us don't even have like players that have other players on another list. Both lists are pretty wild this week, man. Mm-hmm. Pretty wild. And I got to see
I thought Hayden was the main outlier.
Nah, bro. This week, if y'all came to see the action this week, this is the week right here.
Especially since we've got the #1 complainer in the comments now on the show. Hi, Manny.
Oh.
Yeah, now we get to go back and forth now with Manny up in here, because y'all know how me and Manny like to go back and forth, man. But it's all family rated. We don't ever get mad.
And chat, please don't be shy. If you see something that you don't like from Manny, please let him know.
Yeah. Like his curls.
Go ahead, Manny. What was you gonna say?
I was just gonna say the football guys always arguing.
But yeah, we don't ever get mad at the end of the day, man. It's just football. We all talk. We all got different points of view, but at the end of the day, we do respect and we do move on. That's why it's cool to do these lists.
Trust me, Manny and I already started fighting today to warm up for tonight's show, so we're good.
So if you guys look out, if you guys look out for the rest of the week, we're actually going to put out the top 5, which is the average of all of our lists, and I make the edit look like that we all agreed on 5 through 1. But this is the show where we actually give our, outline opinions on what we think is a top 5 player. But we will have all the possible rankings towards the end, and then we'll do the top 50, which is going to be real cool. We're going to do our top 50 list, which that's just going to have to be a whole show on its own to compare those. But this is what we give you, because everybody says that this is a down period in football. It's not a down period to us. There's always plenty of stuff to talk about. So, and all those other guys that say, I ain't got nothing to talk about, are you tired of hearing about the same team? We got you covered. That's how we do over here. But anyways, icebreaker question for the week. Or not a question, but just a reaction to today's news, since everybody says it's quiet in the football world. The Lions have released the blue helmet, kind of an homage to another thing that I know we're going to get into. But what was our initial reactions, gentlemen? Vic, I'll start with you.
Oh, we all know I said it was very mid. I like the color. You know what I mean? The color scheme is cool. Very nice color. The logo, again, we all have our issues with it, but I think the biggest issue is the actual helmet they use. It's very limiting when you're trying to put a logo on. If you take a look at that, so I think that might be one of the biggest issues. But yeah, overall, I'm just going to give it a mid grade.
A mid?
Mid.
Laura, what you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that I kind of said in Discord on all caps was just disgusted. I can understand, it's their retro logo. I do like bringing back, the throwbacks, the retro, all that. But the main thing is just I feel like it clashes too much on the helmet. Like, I kind of want to see what I can appreciate the fact that they're doing the throwback, but I don't know. I just don't like the way that it clashed. I'm not going to lie. I think it was Manny that sent it first. At first, when I saw this, I thought I was looking at a Kentucky helmet.
For real?
Yeah, I don't. Well, because I had
kind of looking like it. Yeah.
I saw the way that the Lions back legs were sticking out, and I saw the blue stripe. I didn't see the white at first, so I thought it was okay, and I was like, this is a weird looking Kentucky helmet, and then I saw it was the Lions. But I mean, I like the retro logo. I don't like how it looks on the helmet.
Yeah, if you even look back, if you put that picture back up of the helmet, look at it itself. It's kind of limiting on where you can put a logo on because of the shape of the helmet. I think that's the biggest issue. If they use a different helmet, we might think differently of it. But because of the way the helmet's shaped and the way you have to put that logo in, that's what takes it out. It just looks out of place there.
And
This man Fisher said it looked like hieroglyphics, like an Egyptian drew it.
I like what it is.
It's very long, extended arms. And real quick, pull up the one with Aiden Hutchinson wearing it.
Oh,
that just doesn't clash with the jersey.
Or it clashes. It doesn't mesh. Yeah.
Yes, I was correcting myself. It doesn't match. It clashes with the jersey. I do not like it with the jersey.
And like you even said, like that elongated arm, that's because of, like I said, the way the helmet is and it fits right into that air hole. It just doesn't look right. Like, I love the fact that they're going back. You know what I'm saying? This is like an homage to the old school Mustang logo. You look at the 60s Mustangs. That's exactly what it is. An homage. It's the Ford company, Ford ownership who owns, the Lions. They want to show homage to it. And it's great. But again, you have to get a different helmet to make it look better, I think. Without that, everyone's going to be confused. And as we just discussed, that color matchup, what it matched up to the jersey, it just doesn't look right.
Cole said it looked like the logo.
Make a good point. Yeah, it looks like a mixture of Food Lion and Kroger.
Oh my God, you're right.
It looks like Food Lion mixed with Kroger a little bit.
Manny, go ahead and get into it, man. What you think?
I like it. I mean, I like the color scheme, like Vic said, the matte blue. It looks really cool, but I just don't like the logo. The logo is the thing that I'm not like. I mean, it's retro, so it's like way back in the day. So
yeah,
the technology is different nowadays, to where it can make the logo look really well. But I don't know. The matte blue is the only thing I like about it. The thing, it just doesn't make sense. Like, like Sora said, it looks like the Kentucky, like the Kentucky color scheme, like just kind of like that. I kind of see what he was talking about. Like if you went into like any store or something, and then like you saw that, now you would think like that would be like some Kentucky thing or like football
Telling
team.
you, I would have thought I stepped foot in a Food Lion in a Kroger. Straight
Yeah,
up.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
there's it looks like a high school football logo. Like, just
Shout out to you.
I'm sorry, bro. Like, I don't know. It just looks weird.
My
bro.
question is, does it have AC?
Okay,
That seems to be what Tiger teams are doing nowadays.
Well, this is a lion, Sora.
Well, a cat's a cat, my guy.
And then like
A cat is a cat.
Yeah, I was just about to say like the lion, like Sora said, like the arm is like really long.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know why is
I've
it
said
that
a lot.
long? Yeah, like it's a lot.
I would suggest this, and Dante, this is your area of expertise.
Mhm.
But if
That's
you
why
were
I'm
just
going
to-
last.
That's what I'm saying.
He's like,
If
I'm
you were
gonna
just to
sit here
create
and cook.
the same helm, the same look to it, but put it on a different helmet, I guarantee you that'll look way better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the thing where they what's up BLSG and Damien. This is the thing where they totally missed out on me. I get it. You want to bring an old school vibe back. They even had in their video where like the Mustang came in, the guy got out, pulled the helmet out or whatever. But aesthetically, it's just weird, especially when you try to match it up with like this is what really throws me off here is that blue just clashing with that gray, because the matte blue is different than their jersey blue, because matte colors tend to it's a tiny bit different where that it's like when you look at the Vikings logo or the Vikings helmets, they're that matte purple, but they go really well with what they have aesthetically. Now if it was an all blue jersey like the Vikings have all purple jerseys, then it would be better instead of matching, especially just promo picture. Just show the blue jerseys with it, because if they're going to wear these gray jerseys with it, it's going to look like a mess. Second thing is there's a lot of people out there that think like this logo is trash, but this is an old logo. And I get that they're trying to bring an homage back to something that's new. But if you're going to do that, this is the thing with me. If you're going to do that, and now let's break it down to the graphic design side of things. If you're going to bring an homage back, at least have a promo picture of them wearing the old school uniforms with this.
Yeah.
And have the old school paint with this. Don't bring something new school and clash it with the old school. It almost never works. What I think would have been way better as a design, and maybe I'll make like a mock-up of it and put it on Twitter.
Say, did you have a design saved in the fold or in a file that you were just ready to pop out on the show?
I was hoping you did.
That's such a Dante thing to do.
I'm gonna put it on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, everybody go there. I'm gonna put out what I would do. But basically, the little tease of what I would do to this is, and I just want y'all to take a look at this promo picture that they have here. If you're going to put a sticker on the helmet, make sure the full sticker is all the way down on the helmet too. Attention to detail is everything, folks. Just like some podcasters out there, they don't have enough attention to detail and then get mad at me when I say you don't gotta. But anyways, so here it is. This is what I would change with this. I would put the new school lion with the stripes in the background. That's what I would do, because they already have a full body line. Why don't you just put the new logo with the old stripes? That would look cool. And then if you're really trying to go new school, I think this would be super duper cool with the helmet like this, to make that one gray stripe like a silver shiny stripe, and do the same thing with the face mask. Make them chrome face masks. Then when you pull this picture out, I think it would look much better with gray. I think people wouldn't be so upset about it, but still I would only wear this with the blue uniforms as well. So that's kind of like my takeaway with the whole thing is I just think if you're going to bring a new school thing like matte blue helmets with an old school logo, you totally missed the mark. Bring mesh the old school with the new school, put them both together, put the new logo in there and make chrome face masks. And I think people will be over the moon right now. So, but we'll see. If my tweet blows up later tonight when I redesign this joint, I don't want to hear nothing. Y'all heard it here first.
I think that's one of the biggest issues when teams go back to like their older uniform looks is You have to have that perfect match. I think it's better instead of just using that old logo, update that old logo to something more modern. And I don't
Yeah.
mean totally change everything, just a modern version of what that look would have been. Like you said, the new Lions logo with that background, it would have meshed perfectly. That's it. You can't take something old and then put it on something new and expect it to look like what you wanted to make it look vintage, look old. It won't work. You have something new already out. You might as well mix the two so that way you have a remnants. You're reminded of what it looked like before, and then that gives you that feeling instead of just trying to replicate it and force it, which, like we said, now it really doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised it was the Lions that had something like
This came out of left field.
just because the Lions like normally because they're not they always haven't been the greatest football team. The thing that you like about the Lions is they have good colors and stuff. They have a good logo. You don't expect this out of them, so I'm kind of just confused.
And I've loved, aesthetically, I've loved every iteration that they've done to their new logo, just by putting, like, it used to be just the plain line that was flat with nothing, and then now they kind of accentuated the line with where it looks like he has flowing hair throughout the body now. And then they made it look a little bit more aggressive with the teeth and all that. And then they went to the all gray uniforms with the I love every single iteration that they've done thus far. Even when Matt Stafford was on the team, where it was blue prominent with when they had the dark outline, I thought that was cool too. So I've loved everything that they've done. I think with this, they've totally taken a step back. I mean, hey, if you want to strike while the iron's hot, you do it right now when nobody's really talking about football outside of us. So.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, that logo to me looks like an old school pack of cigarettes.
Yep. Yep. It does. It that's the other thing too, yo.
It's like the old school parliaments. Just, you know what I mean? Get your pack in.
This is like an old school, this is like the type of line that you would see on somebody's chainmail back in the medieval times.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, bro, detail. I just don't like how the Lions arm is going
Super long. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too long. You gotta make it to where it's not messing up the helmet.
Yeah, it's all over the place. Everything is, I mean, just like the clothes that women are wearing now, they're going all the way back to the old baggy style.
Oh, that's because all the guys are wearing their old clothes.
Yeah, that's
well, yeah, that's true. It's the guys are wearing tighter clothes and the females are wearing looser clothes, but they're wearing the old school type of pants back early 90s when me and Vic was in diapers, you know what I'm saying, and toddlers and stuff like that. But yeah, man, yeah, I mean, I just need to get y'all reactions on that. But to go ahead and move on, appreciate everybody in the chat, man. We got 10 deep right now. Vic's got 3 questions like he does every single week to kick us off before we get to our list to get our blood pumping a little bit. So what you got this week?
Well, this week, we're going to talk about, as we discussed before, Mr. Marcus Peters. Now, last season in 2022, the Ravens defense finished 3rd best in the league, had the most interceptions. One part contributing to that was Peters and, his defensive prowess. But this season, it looks like I should say at the end of last season, it looks like there were some rumblings with the team. There was a discussion between Peters and Lamar Jackson, where Peters didn't feel that Lamar Jackson was doing everything he could to be on the field. He questioned his durability, questioned if he was even injured. This offseason was a little rough for Peters and the Ravens, but they decided to part ways. Peters is now a free agent. Now, the Ravens can re-sign him, but at the moment, he's free to go where he pleases. So I'm going to start off with you, Sora. Let me ask you. Do you feel it was wise for Baltimore to move on from Marcus Peters?
No, I feel like they needed to do their best to keep Marcus Peters. I mean, some people had, Marcus Peters in their top 5 cornerbacks list. Definitely top 10, top 15. I mean, he's just kind of been that playmaker for Baltimore, and I feel like kind of one of the key focal points of that defense who has bailed you out in some games when Lamar was injured or just in general when the offense wasn't able to produce. So yeah, it's going to be interesting if Marcus Peters goes anywhere. I mean, that's going to be automatically be a top priority free agent. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes if Baltimore doesn't re-sign him.
It is very interesting because I'm already hearing there's rumblings of the Raiders
Yeah,
very
I was
interested
gonna
in
say.
Peters.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna
then they need defense everywhere. So that helps.
Well, you are correct in the fact that they need defense because right behind him there isn't much. You have Brandon Stevens, Adarius Washington. Again, these are unproven guys. So, Manny, let me ask you: do you think it was a wise decision for the Baltimore Ravens to move on from Marcus Peters?
Yes, because like you said with like the Lamar thing, he questioned like his durability out there if he would play on the field and stuff. So I think it's just the best decision for the Ravens to move on from him. And they already looked at like replacing him because they got Rocky Sin, and I'm not saying like Rocky Sin is some all world corner, but he's a solid number two. And then they got the cornerback in the draft, like in the 6th or 5th round, from Stanford. Uh,
Caillou Blue Kelly.
Caillou, him. I always forget his name.
Him.
Did you just call him? That's it. He is him.
Nah, not that.
He's him.
I just forget.
Fast track
I just forget his name. But Dante told me about like him, and I like looked at like his.
He was a beast at the Senior Bowl, bro.
Mm-hmm.
playmaker,
Yes.
bro.
Yes, he was.
So I think if they give him a chance, or like let Rocky Spin go to 2, I think it'll be a good fit for the Ravens. And Marcus Peters, like I don't know if you guys always like have caught this about him, but he's always been one of those types of guys. Like he knows what he's worth. Like I'm not saying every player in the NFL doesn't know what he's worth, but he speaks like his mind. Like if you watch his pressers and stuff, like he knows what he's worth as a player. And like with Lamar's big contract, I don't think this gonna like fit. And then Patrick Queen's gonna try to get paid. Not everyone could get paid, so I think the Raiders are gonna sign him for sure. They need a CB1. They need a playmaker on defense, especially at the cornerback position. I don't see him staying, and I think it's a good decision for Baltimore to let go of him. It's time.
All right, Dante. We're talking about Marcus Peters, who is one of the most vocal, one of the more vocal players on that Baltimore defense, a leader of that defense. Again, we talked about the discussion that he had with Lamar Jackson. Again, this is something a lot of people have been talking about the Ravens. These players knew or felt, some of them felt, Lamar Jackson was able to play. He made a business decision in order for him to obtain the contract that he got this offseason. Marcus Peters, being the man that he was, spoke up for the team. Now, again, that was something that had to have been said because it worked out. Looks like Jackson's okay, contract signed. But again, we're talking about what can happen if Peters is gone because there isn't really much after him. So do you think it's a wise decision at this moment now to release Marcus Peters by the Ravens?
It's not like Marcus Peters hasn't like traveled in his career thus far. I mean, he spent 3 years with Kansas City, another 2-3 years with Los Angeles when he was with the Rams, and now it's been 3 years with the Baltimore Ravens. So if history repeats itself, I guess you could say that his 3-year window is up and it's time to go to another team because history has done repeat itself. But look, I mean, we're talking about Marcus Peters here too. The guy, for all accounts, has been a ball hawk since he's been in the league. I mean, he damn near led the league for a couple of years in interceptions for a long time. I mean, he's got 32 in his career thus far, and he's been in the league, 8 years now. So, wow.
Side note, he's a Washington corner. I just want to make that clear.
Yes. No good cornerbacks come out of Washington, a wise man once said.
Throw that out there. Just want to throw that out there. But
we're talking about a 2-time All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler. I think he's still got it in the tank. I just think if you look at everything that the Ravens have done thus far, they're trying to get younger.
Yeah.
I mean, when they feel like your services don't match up, it's your time to go. And we tried to tell people last year that man Kyle Hamilton was something serious. Not the fact that he plays cornerback, but playing safety, he was a great piece of the puzzle. And they went out and got Caillou Blue Kelly, who is an incredible cornerback, and I think his type of style of play is going to fit right in with what the Baltimore Ravens like to do as well. He reminds me a little bit of Marlon Humphrey too, just the all aroundness that he has. So, you know, would you rather have 2 Marlon Humphreys on your team or 1? I think I'll take 2. So I think I'll take 2 plus Kyle Hamilton plus Roquan Smith plus all those pieces of the puzzle that they have there right now. That's why they were able to get rid of Calais Campbell and everything too, because they're trying to get younger in all accounts. I mean, I think for the most part, the only thing, the one thing that people always worry about is like his attitude issues. But would you rather have a dude that's all about his team and would die for his team, or would you have somebody that's halfway bought in as well? So every team that he goes to, I think he makes them a little chippier, and I think he makes them a little better as well. So, you know, Marcus Peters to me, he's a beast. He's been a beast, and I think it's just his time to move on and you know, do another 3-year stint somewhere else later on in his career.
By the way, Kyle Hamilton was the best safety last year in football.
Listen, Kyle Hamilton was out there like an artist. He was a Picasso in the backfield. I only wish more people, you know, had confidence in him and, you know, watch the tape.
Hold up, though. We ain't gonna move past this now. I tried to move past it. There was one dude, Eagles fan.
There was subliminal in there.
there was one dude.
Oh no,
we
were
said,
setting you up for the alley oop, by the way.
I know, and I'm about to slam dunk that joint. I'm about to be the Jordan logo right now, bro. I'm going in for the kill. There was one dude in this community that said, I think he's undersized.
How, fam?
I think that he's gonna be a bust. How's he looking right now?
Like when he means like undersized,
I'm a Picasso too.
So like does he mean like his height? Like
he said he was undersized at 6'4", playing safety.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He said his frame. He said he didn't like his frame. He thought it was undersized to be playing safety. But then later on and said that him and CJ Gardner-Johnson being on the same team will remind him of Brian Dawkins and somebody else. Like, it was like the switch up was wild, bro. The switch up is wild. But we've been trying to tell y'all, there's been these guys up here, Fishin's in the chat. We watch college football. We watched every single snap, not every single snap, but we watched most of these games. And we've watched film on these guys to go back and reaffirm what we think about players. And last year, I want to say that a lot of the players that we talked about were absolutely correct coming out in the draft. I mean, one guy that I was absolutely wrong about was Sauce Gardner, but half of the guys up here loved him. So that's one thing. I mean, 50% is good when it comes to the, you know, the people agreeing on stuff. But then we were right. All of us love Derek Stingley Jr. All of us love Jalen Petrie. All of us love Kyle Hamilton. And and we said that Derek Stingley and Kyle Hamilton could be the 2 generational players that came out of last draft. And they showed every single glimpse of George Karlaftis.
Garrett Wilson was my guy.
Chris Olave, again, hey.
Drake London was mine.
Soros had us talking about Dameon Pierce at nauseum.
And I said that he was my number 1 back coming out.
Yep. When we saw the tape and we watched games, we were like, what the hell was Florida doing? Why were they holding back so much? But guess what? That's totally for the Texans' benefit.
I don't understand how anyone.
I'm about to say, yeah. You know, I know earlier last time I said during the revamp series, I was like, yeah, coach my AFC team. I completely forgot, by the way. That was a lie. It was the Texans.
I can't understand how anyone like that watches football thinks 6'4" is a bad height for a safety. Like, that's literally perfect height.
And you know what's going to be even funnier is that's not even the most blasphemous thing we heard.
Yeah.
The most blasphemous thing we heard recently most blasphemous thing we heard recently, all off season leading up to the draft, all we heard was about Bijan. What college should he go to? I think Georgia. Might have been Bama.
Not only your
college beat y'all went
boyfriends
to.
have been talking about this dude draft 5 all season, and you don't know which college he went to. My God.
I'll just say this: at least they have
It's crazy.
good cameras and they know their angles. Like that's what they have going.
Hold up. Full screen me real quick. Full screen me. I heard that. I said ejecto seat, cuzzo.
Hey, man, it's the weird, by any means, we're not the end all be all. But rarely when you watch college and you see what you see in college, and then people try to tell you your opinion is wrong that does not watch college, it's a little weird to us. Just like I heard Drake
It's gonna
London
be the
is not
same
the
thing.
fastest. Well, how do you know? Because he didn't run the damn 40. But I remember the same dude that Manny been harping about, that boy Chris Gonzalez. Chris Gonzalez, right?
leave
When he
him
played in
alone.
Colorado.
No,
I remember Drake London giving him that work.
Oh, it was.
I remember Drake London giving Utah one of the fastest defenses in college football. That work.
Bro, that was a long time ago. with
I don't
Gonzalez.
care.
That was
Last
a long
year?
time ago, bro. That was a while ago. That was a long
Yeah, and Fisher makes a good point. Just wait till after this season. People are gonna be like, "Where'd Keon White come from?" People are gonna be like, "Where'd Riley Moss
Yep.
come from?"
Yo, you're
Bro,
fast.
and I've been hearing nothing but good things about Keon White. I've been hearing nothing but good things, especially about Riley Moss right now. I looked into some stuff of what Pat Surtain has been saying about him, bro. He's like, bro, he gonna be a beast, bro. People don't even know he gonna be a beast. We've been
Yeah,
saying this, man.
Same thing with Gonzalez. I just want to throw that out
No,
there.
no.
Yes, sir. No,
You ain't about to try to slide that in there, brother. You
Hey,
ain't safe.
I would be more than happy to make that video, Manny, of me saying that I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, man.
he was
But
one of
I heard that he'd been cooking. I heard that he was the best cornerback in practice.
he's one of
but
my
it's practice,
favorite
though.
players, bro, in this draft. Bro,
What
I
other
hope
corners do they get? Is that really saying much though with the Patriots cornerback room?
But it's saying
got
much
one
when-
who just
when
got arrested.
Belichick lets that information come out. That means a lot.
Yeah.
If Belichick is allowing that information or letting that praise come out,
Yeah, it's Belichick.
then you got to take heed to it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I
Yeah.
guess, but also, what competition is there? Literally, one of them just got arrested, so
But
that quarterback room is dwindling.
But he's gonna be a rookie cornerback going in as a rookie, and he's gonna be CB1 like off the like,
Since we have Marcus Peters up there, that needs to be a target for the Patriots.
Facts.
yeah.
But here's the thing. We can
They need
move.
corner help.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Again, form your own opinion, but just make sure that it's an informed opinion, because guys like us have been, our track record's been 90% right year to year to year. I mean, shout out to my man Don. Don ain't on here, but I'm gonna give Don some praise. The stats guru, I know he ain't been on here in a little bit, but he been behind the scenes and he does his homework too. The dude that we're going to talk about tonight that's been on almost everybody's list is Quinnen Williams. The dude said that he was going to be good. He said that Rashawn Gary was going to be good. He also said that Montez Sweat was going to be good. That's Don made that prediction. This is a guy that just got into college football when we started this. But he actually did the homework. He actually watched. He went outside his comfort zone because he understood that an uninformed opinion is not a good opinion. But people watch people all the time make quarterback lists about quarterbacks that are supposed to come out in this draft, and then I call them out in their comment section when I'm like, bruh, Bo Nix ain't coming out this year. Why is he on your list?
Having Matt Stafford at 2.
Bro, will you guys mention?
Boy.
Will you guys mention Bo Nix? I'm not here.
Hey, I heard he been cooking too, bro.
Yo, when Bo Nix wins his Heisman,
I'm not here.
I just want him to look at the camera and say,
I'm not here, bro. I'm not here.
Oh, Vic, what do you think
gotta
we're gonna
do some
Vic? What
homework.
do you think we're gonna do when we see him at the Senior Bowl, bro? We're gonna get the group picture of all of us hitting that Heisman Trophy pose with him.
Oh, I'm gonna come out my turtle shell to go find him, bro. Yo, Bo. I swear, just give me 2 seconds of your time. I don't need you to say anything else, but be like, Manny, I told you so. We told you so, bro.
What do you
We
more
told you
likely
so.
you're gonna have me be the runner again?
Run, get him.
You were like that man over
Retreat.
there.
But
I
yeah,
was like,
man.
I was like, excuse me, sir, Richard, hello.
Hey, man, we appreciate everybody that takes the time to listen to us talk this talk, though. It's important, especially if you don't. It's okay to say it when you don't know anything, but that's what we're here to give you. When everybody said this is a dark period, we're gonna give it to you today. But Vic, what's your next topic?
Heck yeah! Listen, if it's dark, we're here to bring you the light, baby. But the next topic again. Last offseason, Russell Wilson found himself a new home in Denver. There was a lot of expectation. You know what I'm saying? He came out from Seattle. He brought him a championship, and he thought he was going to take that over to the Mile High City. Now, we all know Russell didn't get to cook as well as we thought he would. He ended up burning down the damn kitchen. But one of the big factors I thought that was a big reason behind that was his wide receiving core. Again, often injured, always out of games, missing it, didn't help Russell in his first season at all. Now with new coach Sean Payton, looks like the Broncos are looking to excel and to move on from what they did last year and open up a new chapter. But gentlemen, let me ask you, Manny, I'll start off with you. Do you feel the expectation for Russell, is there an expectation for Russell to rebound from what he did last season? And do you think that, with this Broncos receiving core, are they able to make it through a season? Can you rely on them?
Cortland Sutton, I don't like. He's always just been up and down, like with the injuries. I don't know how much like we can get out of him with staying on the field. Judy, I think there's hope with Judy. Hamler, I don't know. He's the same. Like he's up and down. And then I know they picked up in the draft Marvin Mims Jr. He went to a really good situation. Like if you want to go be a good receiver with like a guy like Sean Payton. If Sean Payton drafts you, you have some type of talent, whether you're inconsistent or not, which he kind of was last year. But he went to a really good situation. And then to answer like your Russell Wilson question, I think Russell Wilson, he should definitely rebound because, he has one of the most like prolific offensive coaches in NFL history with Sean Payton. Like if there's anyone that can fix him, outside of probably like Andy Reid, it has to be Sean Payton. He literally came out of retirement, or not retirement, but like he came out of his like 1 year kind of just space away from football to come do this. So I think this should show Russell Wilson that he should rebound. And the team is already set. I think it's just about Russell Wilson just, carrying on and, kind of going back to old Russ, or not even just old Russ, just playing, good football.
Yeah. All right, Dante, with some expectation for Russell Wilson to rebound with new head coach Sean Payton, do you think the Denver Broncos receiving core can be reliable this season?
I will be back.
Yes, I think they'll be more reliable this season. Injuries is one of those things, like you had said last week when we were talking about, several players, the Cooper Kupps of the world and stuff like that. The best ability is availability and things like that. But, I made a bold prediction last year, which I had to fess up, and I was totally wrong about. But also is because he was battling injuries. It was Jerry Jeudy was going to have a good season too, and KJ Hamler went down again. Cortland Sutton was back and forth with injuries, and also it was Jerry Jeudy that was back and forth too. So, Javonte Williams getting injured needs to get mentioned too, because that passing game was very reliant on him doing really well, and they didn't have that 1-2 punch that him and Melvin Gordon were given for a couple years there. So. I don't know. I don't know if history is actually going to repeat itself with that or not. I think what you hope for Sean Payton is to make sure that you're designing play calls around not getting your players hurt. Naturally, people are going to get hurt. This is what it is with any contact sport. But the thing with Russell Wilson, he's going to need at least one consistent weapon. We got to be fair to him too in his situation as well. No matter how much we try to roast him and things like this for for the year he had last year. But there's no denying that after Nathaniel Hackett left and he started to do better, that some of the blame had to be on Nathaniel Hackett's shoulders. But can it be more reliable this year? I think that's still up in the air. We don't know. But I think the real key here is Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine being on the same team together, and them helping out there and them helping open up that game. And we know how Sean Payton loves to use get his running backs into the receiving game as well. So that's only going to help with those checkdowns and stuff when people are getting, meshed up down the field and things like that. So hopefully it could be more reliable, but I think it gets a little easier this year with having a coach that actually knows what the hell he's doing too.
Yeah, that's going to help out a lot. But Sorrel, let me ask you. I just checked out the top 3 receivers. We have Jerry Jeudy, Portland Sutton, Tim Drake. Every single receiver is above 50% risk of being
Tim Patrick, right?
Patrick, yeah.
Tim Patrick.
Yep.
Over 50% risk of being injured this season. Jerry Jeudy, the highest, at 85% risk of being injured. Now, let me ask you the question. Can the Denver Broncos, can they rely on their receiving core this year?
I'm gonna stick with everybody else. I don't really think they can. I don't think they can rely on the receiving core. I mean, again, you mentioned Jerry Jeudy. First of all, I know he's been on, which I think was shut down recently, but he has been on talks of being on the trade block before. Who knows if that continues on into the season? Cortland Sutton. Sometimes he's hot, sometimes he's not. And then again, also injury. Tim Patrick, unfortunately, suffered that, season-ending injury at the beginning. He is reliable. Marvin Mims, you're looking at as a rookie. KJ Hamler, he's played, 4 full games maybe? And then even after that, then you're just getting into full, wide receiver 6s and practice body squats. Even, looking at the tight ends, your number one is Greg Dulcich, who going into his second year but wasn't used much. You can say that was because of the system. But even then, the tight ends weren't really used much. We were relying on the one dude whose last name is a Wi-Fi password. I'm not even going to attempt to say his last name. And then, like Dante said, Javonte Williams, when he went down, that was a big blow to the already weak Broncos offense. And Russell Wilson also refused to do what Russell Wilson is known for, and using his legs to either extend the play or just do it himself. So you kind of got to hope with Sean Payton, how kind of once Nick Sirianni joined Philly, the injury bug, quote unquote, was pretty much gone. We were relatively healthier than we've usually been in years. So you kind of got to hope that also happens with an entirely new staff. But I do fully expect the defense to once again carry the Denver Broncos.
Well, I hope, the Broncos are able to stay healthy. But if you kind of remember, Sean Payton has had a bad string of injuries with his wide receivers. Dante Stallworth, one of them. Yeah, the other one, for whatever reason, I can't remember his name right now, but Ward number 12, he was their best receiver at the time.
Marcus Colston.
Colston. Colston often injured. He's had
Marcus Colston was a beast.
This
bro.
man Dante beat me to it, bro. I was just about to say Colston,
I don't know why I forgot his name
come on, man. He was one of my favorite wide receivers for a while.
He was like I was about to say he was another one of those craftsmen, bro. Every single year, he would just cook.
Yeah, so Payton's had, he's been able to handle the waters with injured receivers, but I don't know. With Denver and their issues, it's pretty much unprecedented. I've never seen that many receivers been down so often for one team. But again, I wish them nothing but health this season upcoming. On to the last question now. Dante, you're up. Talking about the Buffalo Bills and specifically Stephon Diggs, a man who you know very well. Now, let me ask you, do you think that Stephon was out of bounds for asking for input on play calling? And do you think that the relationship between him and the Bills can be repaired before the season begins?
I mean, let's be honest here. Stephon Diggs, if you take him away, I think that team crumbles.
I agree.
I think they die a very, very slow death, which only gets worse throughout the season. I mean, Stephon Diggs on a lot of our lists was a top 5 receiver still. On some of ours, a top 3 receiver, depending on who you talk to. And I think that's very warranted. If you look at everything that he's done thus far, there's no coincidence that, you know, the Bills were back to prominence when he became a member of that team. I mean, think about when the Vikings, they got to the NFC Championship game and lost against the Eagles. Wasn't he a part of that team? You know, making that incredible play to push him through to the next round. So he's been incredible.
Yes,
like
the Minneapolis Miracle.
Yep. So he's been incredible his whole career, and I would really love to see what Josh Allen would look like without him. To be completely honest, I mean, all of us got infatuated with that AFC division game against the Chiefs, where Gabriel Davis had an incredible game as well, and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, he's gonna be." All of us were so hyped to see him again get more involved, and he was just okay. And now they're still searching for that number 2. I mean, you know, who else do they have there? Dawson Knox is their best receiver outside of that.
Right now, their wide receiver 3. Right now, their wide receiver 3 is Khalil Shakir out of Boise State,
and Isaiah McKenzie's gone. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Shakir is their wide receiver 3 right now,
and they just drafted another tight end.
So yeah, I mean, I think the Bills need to do everything in their power to keep this dude. I'm not even going to front. They need to do everything to keep him around. And if he's asking for input on the play calling, I think that's warranted. Yes, I mean, only to be honest, the coach only knows so much, right? But the thing about Josh and him having such a good relationship, I think it would be strengthened more if he's like, look, this is what me and Josh really like to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what play works all the time in practice. This is what's worked in the game. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but I'm sure he's not like, I'm going to take over play calling completely, but at least let me have a little input, because since I've been here, I've given you guys nothing but success as a player. So, you know, some things are like out of line if it was like a first or second year player. But a guy that's constantly putting up 1,300 yard, 10 plus touchdown seasons over and over and over again, and constantly getting you guys in good spots during games, and as reliable as he is, I think this is the last person that you want to piss off outside of Josh Allen. Everything else, I think the money thing, it'll work itself out, however that goes. But I mean, I don't think he's out of line whatsoever. I actually like it. I actually like that he's so vocal. Like, to me, this screams, I want to win more than we already are winning. Our expectations are so so high every single year because I'm a part of this team. And if you take me away from this, we're not going to have the success that we always do. And I'm confident in it because you can look at my numbers every year and see what I've done. So, out of respect for me wanting to win, let me tell you personally what I think would work. And if it doesn't work, it is what it is. I don't think this is like he's holding like a knife up to anybody's neck. But I mean, this just screams to me that like I want to help my team win. And I hope that they're respectful enough to listen to my opinion on a couple things as a veteran player.
All right. Sorrel, let me ask you. Do you feel as though it was out of bounds for Stephon Diggs to ask for input on play calling? And do you think or feel that the relationship between him and the Bills can be repaired before the season begins?
I absolutely do not think it is out of line for this man to ask. He is literally the number 1 weapon for Buffalo. He is that entire offense. I don't care what anybody says about Josh Allen. Stephon Diggs is your entire offense. Because you look outside, as we just mentioned previously, who the other wide receivers are. Gabe Davis, who, still hasn't proven to be that wide receiver 2. You don't know what you're going to get with Khalil Shakir as your wide receiver 3. I can't tell you the other wide receivers on the list because let's just be real. Stephon Diggs is kind of your main wide receiver. Yes, you've got Dawson Knox, who, as we've mentioned, will probably primarily be your main blocking. And then you just drafted, I don't know, I can't remember his name all of a sudden.
Dalton Kincaid.
Thank you. You just drafted Dalton Kincaid. So, yes, there's another weapon, but you don't use your running backs. The only person running the ball is your quote-unquote franchise quarterback. So, 100%, Stephon Diggs is that entire offense. If he's gone, say bye-bye to the Buffalo Bills that we know, because he's literally the only reason that they are favored right now, or that they are always mentioned in Super Bowl talks, because of how good Stephon Diggs is. He's a top 5 wide receiver. I had him at number 3. He, in my eyes, is one of, if not the best route running wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, 100%, Stephon Diggs should have permission to start doing play calling. I'm not saying, give him his entire desk, give him his own desk, give him his own front office. Although if he wants that, I'm probably, handing some money over so he can get all that. But yeah, no, if the Bills lose it on Diggs, it's over for them. Expect a tank for, I'm not saying tank for Marvin Harrison, but they expect them to go heavy at wide receiver then, because it's not going to be pretty for them.
All right, Manny.
So yeah, you gotta hope that they can fix that relationship.
Hopefully, because the season's just around the corner. But Manny, let me ask you: do you think it was out of line for Stephon Diggs to ask for some input on play calling? And do you think that his relationship with the Bills, or the relationship with the Bills, can be repaired before the season begins?
Yeah, I agree with what Dante said. I like when people do, in the NFL, top players do this, especially at that position. If you're so valuable to your team, you're going to be as vocal as you can to show that you're valuable to your team. If you go look back at because I know you mentioned it earlier with the Chiefs-Bills game a couple years ago in the playoffs, they would not have put that much points up if, Stephon Diggs wasn't on the team, because Gabe Davis only got open because, they weren't focusing on him. They weren't literally just the game plan wasn't on him. The game plan is usually on Stephon Diggs. You don't game plan looking, especially for a defensive coordinator in the NFL. And when you're trying to stop the Bills, you don't game plan for Gabe Davis. You game plan for Stephon Diggs. I don't hate, him trying to, ask for play calling, just give input on play calling, because in the Bengals game in the playoffs, what happened? Josh Allen just threw it in a risky spot. Half of the league wouldn't, just some quarterbacks that are smart and prudent, they just wouldn't, throw the ball there. And he did. I don't understand some of the throws that he would make. I think Diggs is getting tired of it. Like he said, they're always a top end team, on most people's boards, going into the season. So, when he comes out and says this, he wants to win. He's one of their top players on that team, and he's one of the best receivers in football. He's not gonna just come out saying this stuff. He wants to get the plays and stuff. Him and Allen probably have tendencies that they really, really like. And he probably knows that. And he wants to get more of that instead of just risking the ball and tight coverage like Allen did a couple times last year to him.
A couple.
So, yeah, it was more than my bad. It was more than a couple. I just said a couple to kind of favor Josh Allen. Kind of give him that benefit of the doubt. But you have to give Diggs whatever he wants. Not to make him seem like some boss or anything, but he's without Stephon Diggs, this team's not the same, and I don't think Josh Allen's the same either. I'm a huge Josh Allen fan. He's one of the best overall players in football, but he could run, throw, but he's not I don't think he's a top end quarterback without Stephon Diggs. He needs Stephon Diggs.
Let me ask you something, Manny. You said that he's one of the top quarterbacks, one of the best all-around quarterbacks, but then you also said that he wouldn't be who he is without Stephon Diggs.
Yes,
so does that make him a top quarterback?
Because he's an overall really, really good player. That's why I have him in my top 5. I don't, just throw people in the top 5 to just throw them there. He can throw it in the pocket. He can get out the pocket, stand in the pocket. He can just do a lot of things that some quarterbacks just can't do. That's why he's in the top 5. But I think he's just there because he has to be there. His stats say he's there. and I get it. Like without Diggs, he wasn't, the same guy. But that was also very early into his career. I don't know. He might have changed since then, but he still kind of does some of the same things. It's just not as like the accuracy and stuff. Like when he came out of college, he wasn't the same like quarterback as he is now. So I don't know. Some of those tendencies kind of got away from him, but I don't think he's that same guy with Diggs. I really don't think he is.
Well, honestly, I'm very surprised by everyone because I look at it this way. Stephon Diggs is a very special talent, great player. But if you see that there's an issue with Stephon, he had the same issue in Minnesota. He's having the same issue in Buffalo, where he feels like he's not being attended to enough. He's not being appreciated. He should be having more input. This is what I need to say about football players, especially when you have star football players. You can't constantly feed into his ego. And that's what I think this is. If you feel that because you don't have an input on play calling, you're going to hold out, me as a GM, I'm Brandon Bean, I'm exploring my options. Because right now you have a wide receiver out there who is the same caliber as Stephon Diggs and DeAndre Hopkins. You also have an issue at running back, which you can take care of with Dalvin Cook. We know Dalvin Cook and DeAndre Hopkins have been talking together for a while, trying to come on one team together. Again, if I'm a GM, I'm going to want two motivated players. If I can get rid of this disgruntled player, hell, I'm going to make that move because I saw my quarterback this week go out his way and say how he made mistakes, say that he needed to get better, all that to appease his ego. That I'm not a part of. That I can't have on my team. You can't have that in your team. You can't have an ego taking over. If I'm Brandon Beam, I understand that Stephon is a huge part of this team, but you're going to have a conversation with him, understand where he fits on this team and where he will fit on this team going forward in the future. If Stephon's not a part of that, then we need to move on because, again, there is a free agent that's available that is for a good price that will most likely be cheaper and give you the same amount of production, if not possibly more.
Yeah, I mean,
So I think the Bills need to not to say put him in his place, but let him understand the situation that he's in right now. Let him know that even though he is a talented player, he can take his talents on to another team and be a headache for another team.
yeah, I was just about to say, like, if you go back and like look at what happened after the Bengals and the Bills game in the playoffs, like, yeah, Diggs was definitely not happy. Like after that game, like he expressed his words, and it was very intense in that locker room. So I don't know. It was just something about that game that just screamed that he didn't want to just I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to suit up with Allen again, it's based off of like how much times like he'll put the ball in a risky spot. Um, but that's just the type of quarterback he is. He can't control that. I think that's the type of quarterback he is, and that's something Diggs might have to just understand. Like he's not Tom Brady. Like he's not a quarterback that is a composed just like not even Brady like Rodgers. He's a composed gunslinger. Allen's not.
Yeah, but I don't want them to put all the blame on Allen because we talked about a player earlier, Marcus Peters. I think when Marcus Peters was in Kansas City, he was very young, very ignorant. He didn't really understand what what it was about. But then he moved on to LA. You still see some selfishness. You still see those tendencies, but you saw him become more of a leader. He goes on to Baltimore, and I think when he went to the Ravens, he totally transformed who he was. Yeah, he was vocal, but he wasn't that same guy just jawing, talking junk to all the players. He was letting his play speak for himself. He was studying. He was doing everything right, becoming a vocal team leader in which the way you should be. Now, when you look at Stephon, it's more of a me thing. That's what I don't like. That's what I wouldn't want around my team. That's what I consider a cancer around my team. And like I said, if that's the way he feels, listen, by all means, I think you're a great talent. Take that to another team that can handle that. Because right here, we're focused on winning a championship together. And the thing I'm most surprised is Ken Dorsey not losing it. Because Ken Dorsey, that Miami Hurricane team, has a connection to Buffalo. You got to remember when that Miami championship Hurricane team, when they all got drafted, one of the main focuses they had was Willis McGahee, the running back, because that Miami team did one thing and they ran the ball well. McGahee comes to Buffalo and he kind of changes the mindset of Buffalo and becomes a running team. We saw that carry on to Marshawn Lynch. But then now we see them going away from that. And now I'm starting to think, did Stephon Diggs have any part in that? We all talk about, they don't use a running back. But could it be that you have a diva wide receiver constantly complaining and you're trying to appease him? And that's why this offense looks differently?
Yeah.
I just saw a comment from something else that I'll get into a little later.
There.
Oh man, this is so funny. But anyways, yes, all great points, man. I think this is all great points. I think the consensus is yes, please let Stefan at least give his input on a little bit of play calling here and there. But I think a line should be drawn. I think that's what you're alluding to, Vic. Is like a line should be drawn in the sand of what a coach is and what a player is, and coaches are going to coach and players need to play. But here's kind of my rebuttal to that. Do you think Tom Brady had a little bit of input on what the Patriots did?
I'll answer this with this. Does Tom Brady control the game more than what Stefan can? Because at the end of the day, who holds the ball? Who holds the ball controls the game. If you control the game, you can call the plays.
But who controls the game on offense for Buffalo? Josh Allen.
Quarterback.
Yeah,
Exactly,
he
the
is.
quarterback.
He's the quarterback. He's the quarterback, but Diggs is the one that is the vocal point of that offense, though.
And that's one of the things about being a leader, especially if you're a quarterback. You have to understand how to treat everyone and make them feel like they're a part of the team. And if one person feels that they should have more than everyone else, well, you need to talk to that person and, handle it out like men. And if you can't, then we can't be together. We can't be on this team because, again, we need all parts moving in the same direction. We don't need we don't need a sprocket out of place.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. Like Allen is a great player in his own right. Diggs is a great player in his own right. I think it's just more about, respect and I think what is Diggs, like 27, 28? Like he's getting up there in age. I think he wants to win. Like he's buying into winning. And I think he's just tired of like every single year. Like we're just there, but we need more. Like I think he just wants to be at a place where he feels more comfortable, like knowing that this team is going to get me over the hump.
And you made a great point by the age. And I'll just ask this. Who has more of a future with Buffalo? Stefan or the quarterback? Allen.
The quarterback, for sure.
So what's the point of appeasing the receiver if you know he ain't going to be around for long?
Yeah. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, to each their own. I mean, all of us have made really good points. Vic's made really good points. I do kind of side more so. Yeah, he should have a little input, but I'm also on the side of and that I didn't get to make my point earlier, but yeah, that a line should be drawn in the sand too between what a player and what a coach is too. But I mean, I feel like a player should be open enough to at least say something.
I have a perfect question for you.
Yeah.
In your area of expertise in graphic design, you're training Manny, and Manny feels like he should have more input on how the logo and how the design should go. What do you say?
No. No, so that is a good question. But let's say, but I think this is a little different. Though. And the fact is, let me put it like this. Manny would have to be, let's say that I'm 15 years certified in Adobe Photoshop. Manny is 2 years certified in Adobe Photoshop. I've done 10,000 projects versus his 1,000 projects. Okay? But he has an experience of knowing what he's doing in his craft, and I signed him up to be a contract worker under my business, right? Because that's basically what Stefan Diggs is. He's a contract worker for the business. But I'm the coach. I get to say what goes on in the company and what clients that we take in. If I say, hey, Manny, you have to do this for this client, and this is how the design, this is what they want, should he not be open enough to come to me and say, look, I think it should be done this way. He's got some type of credentials to
But this is something
know.
that you're coming up with. You already come up with the logo. Manny's just saying, hey, I know I inked it, I colored it, but I don't think this looks right. This has to be this, or guess what? I'm not going to be here for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah. I see what Vic's saying, like with the Allen.
You said it perfectly. Coaches coach, players play. That's it.
Yeah.
As a player, let's be honest, it's very disrespectful for you to come up to your coach and say, I think we should be doing this.
Yeah.
If you're not the quarterback, shut up.
Yeah, because like in reality, like we all know here, like they're gonna choose Josh over Stephon like 1,000 times.
That's just the nature of it.
It's just how the NFL works. Like it's a business, and you know where the top position starts at, the quarterback position. And I mean, he's the face of the franchise. They're gonna choose him over Diggs any day of the week. It's just like it's sad to say, but that's how the NFL works. Like,
Yeah, it's just sad it even got this far.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good question, though. I mean, it is.
You ain't changing nothing on this logo.
Yo, Vic had him in there. He had him there, like in the first second. He rattled him, bro. He rattled.
Well,
him.
the only reason why is because, like I said, I'm taking it thinking of Ken Dorsey. You're the offensive coordinator. Again, we all know Ken Dorsey's temperament. We all know, the kind of person he is. But again, you're doing your job, your specific job, and you have someone else on the outside who is under you saying, no, you're not doing your job right. I think X, Y, and Z should be done. For anyone in no matter what position, what profession, you're going to look at them and like, who are you to tell me how to do my own job? Again, I'm here to coach you up. You're not here to coach me up. I'm the coach. You're the player. That's the relationship we have here. It doesn't go vice versa. It doesn't work that way. You can give me input on what you think while we're game planning, by all means, please. Or if you see something on the field, hey, let me know. But again, for you to say specific play call, you want input it? Nah, we're not doing all that.
Right. I see both sides. I mean, I really do. But I don't know. And then I guess it's up to that team and that coaching staff too. Is it really an open door policy? I mean, the CIO of my company, I talk to 2 to 3 times a week at most. Do I feel like I can come to him? Yeah, because he's already set the precedent of that. This is an open door policy, and then the best idea wins. Does he really have to do that? Absolutely not. No, but I mean, in a team environment, that I guess we don't really know. But if you had to level set things, coaches coach, players play. If I ask you for your opinion, I'll ask you for your opinion. If not, we're gonna go with what the game plan is. But let's put it like this, Vic. In your situation, let's say that you were Stephon Diggs. You just came off a 1,800-yard season. You're going into, let's say, week 10. We're way past the midway point of the season. Going to week 10, you got 400 yards receiving. You're way off the mark that you set the previous season. And you're getting open. You don't think that you're going to be banging down Ken Dorsey's door and being like, yo, what is going on? Or why are you not seeing this? We watch this on tape every single week. What is happening?
But if I got all those yards and all those accolades and all those touchdowns before I said anything, what makes you think my word is going to be more? And let's be honest, do you think that Stephon Diggs is calling plays for the running back or any other receiver?
What running backs? They don't use them.
Let's be honest. What plays is he asking for? He's not asking for Gabriel to be open. He's not asking plays for anyone else. He's asking plays for himself.
Because he's the only reliable wide receiver on that team. He's the only reliable offensive playmaker on that team right now.
Drew makes a good point. As a manager, you want people to be brought in, giving some input gives them a little ownership and may increase performance. Allowing input doesn't relinquish power.
Okay, so Vic, you're telling me
in the game, like I said, if you see something, you're to talk, hey, this is how they're guarding me, this is how they're covering me. This is what I see. That's the input you give. But to sit down and say, I want to call specific plays or I want more input than play calling, no, again, giving input is great. But to say that you want to roll in that's something totally different.
That's only because of Josh Allen's tendencies. But
hold on. So Vic, you're telling me right now, if Stephon Diggs is gone, let's just say Stephon Diggs is gone, they don't get DeAndre Hopkins. Stephon Diggs is gone. You're telling me they're still in talks of being Super Bowl?
I don't know if they're talks to be in Super Bowl conversation right now. Again,
They
we just talked
always
about
are.
it. They don't even use a running back.
They all
Their defense isn't getting younger.
Yes, and
They're
I get
not
that.
getting younger in total.
Yes, and I
So
get
for
that.
me,
Vic.
this is, and also one thing you want to say is like, hey, Manny just said it. Allen's only got better with Diggs. Doesn't Allen want to prove that he is a better quarterback with or without Diggs?
And what happens if he shows that he is not better without Diggs?
And what happens when he shows that he is? What are people going to say then?
He's
He
him.
would have given all that power
Who's
to
your
a
number
receiver
one?
that really didn't
So
have
you're
that
telling
much of an
me,
effect.
you're telling me right now, if Diggs leaves and if they don't sign anybody, you're trusting.
I'm trusting Josh
Davis.
Allen to do what Josh Allen does, pick up this team and get some damn wins. That's what I trust.
I can't sit. I can't see it.
But that's the
That
thing, again,
Diggs
like I
is
said
literally
before.
that entire offense.
Who's the
'Cause you're
future of the
running-
team?
you're
Is
ru-
it the quarterback or the receiver? Because Diggs not going to be around forever.
And
You're saying
I get that, but what happens when Diggs is gone though? Because right now your main running back is your quarterback, and we already saw this man get injured.
But if you're saying Josh Allen is as good as a quarterback he is, you have to trust he's going to get the job done, whether Diggs is there or not.
Yeah.
Look at Patrick Mahomes. Everyone questioned him when Tyreek Hill left. Oh, Hill did everything. Hill got him all those yards. You see, all he has to do is a short pass. He'll take it to the house. All those yards are garbage yards. That's all Hill. What did Patrick Mahomes do this year? Nothing but spread the ball, shut everyone up. You got to give your quarterback a chance. You can't say that he's only good because of one receiver. You can't do that because, again, there's 11 guys on the team. It isn't two-man ball.
I mean, I was just gonna say, like, Allen this year, he's not gonna run the ball as much for sure. He's not gonna do that like as much. So you could take that off the table. I get it. That's one of his better assets, but I think they're gonna be worried about him getting hurt down the line. And I was just gonna ask a question, not to drag this on any longer, but who's more valuable to that team, Josh Allen or Stephon Diggs? Like, we gotta ask that question too if we're gonna.
What was the question?
Who's more valuable, Diggs or Allen? It's kind of the same thing. Who's the future?
To the offense?
Yeah, who's more valuable
Diggs.
to that offense? I mean,
Diggs.
So let me ask you a question.
to the
Who's
team.
Buffalo's backup right now? Answer it. Who's Buffalo's backup?
Backup quarterback?
Because he left.
It's not Keenum.
I just said not Case Keenum because he left.
If Josh Allen wasn't that important, you'd already know who the backup is.
Yeah, I mean, I know who it is. I just
It takes you too long to figure it out. Like I said, if Josh Allen wasn't that important, you'd already know who the backup is.
But it's the same thing that Sora said. What receivers?
Okay, but it's also different because you have to have multiple receivers.
Oh,
though.
Allen and Matt Barkley.
Yeah, Barkley. That's what I was thinking of. Barkley.
And like I said, you're thinking that because if Diggs is gone, he can't continue to play as well. You're still forgetting.
I don't think
we might not say that.
If Diggs is not there, I'm telling you, Allen would have a major drop off.
I don't know if I'll be major. I might see something because, again, that's not what he's used to. He has to switch things up. It might take him time to recover, but I think he'll get back on to where he was. I don't think that recovery will take that long.
To make it fair for both, I'm gonna just put it down the middle. They're both valuable to the team. I don't even think just one. They're both like.
Just imagine because if Diggs leaving, now they're going to switch up that offense, more of a running team. We're going to have 2 tight end sets. You never know. You never know.
Because if Diggs leaves, Kincaid is gonna do really, really good his first year. Like that's definitely on the table.
Because he's going to be the only reliable weapon there. Because, again, you don't use your running backs. Before Diggs got there.
Dante,
If nothing else, here at ECG, we're passionate.
I don't even like the Bills. I could care less about the Bills.
Who's more valuable to that team, Dante, Diggs or Allen?
I'm gonna say Diggs for the only reason is because we've seen Josh Allen have some really crappy games where if he doesn't get the ball to Diggs, they end up losing.
Yeah.
He has better games when he's throwing the ball to Diggs, which I think is now if it was I'd have to go let me look up Diggs' his totals and then if they won those games. Let's just look at last year for example. Let's see if he has subpar games when he's not getting the ball, is it a loss or is it a win? So let's see. First game of the season, They won against the Rams. He had 122 yards and 8 receptions. They won. 12 receptions, 148 yards. They won. Went against Miami. 7 receptions for 74 yards, so under 100 yards. They lost. Went against Baltimore. 4 receptions, 62 yards. They won. Another 100-yard game against Pittsburgh. They won. Another 100-plus yard game against Kansas City. They won. 100-yard game against Green Bay. They won. Under 100 yards, 93. They lost against the Jets. Over 100, they lost.
Against Minnesota because Josh Allen refused to look at his running back and take the simple 2-yard dump pass and instead threw to the back of the end zone in double coverage to Gabe Davis.
Let's see. Did Diggs have a touchdown this one? Nope, they lost. Did Diggs have a touchdown this one? Nope, they lost. Everything else, they pretty much won. It's hard to say. It's hard to say when you look at that. It's hard to say when you look at that. Let's see.
But you also have to think, like, it doesn't even matter about the total yardage. It's just about how they game plan. Like, Diggs also gets looks where it's like the focus like is on him, like to where he has double, coverage looks. Like he's not just gonna go out there and not expect the double coverage look. That's just because
I'm just trying to see if the performance matches up with the loss.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I just don't feel like Josh Allen's going to be a totally different quarterback because Stephon Diggs isn't there. That's all I'm saying.
He's not gonna flop like how he was his rookie.
I think you're gonna go back to rookie Josh Allen.
Well, I'll say this: even with Stephon Diggs, he's still making mistakes. He's still
fumbles the ball plenty.
But again, one of the reasons could be is we're too focused on the damn pass.
Yeah.
And even then, with rookie Josh Allen, how many times did you run the ball?
I'll say this: it is a conundrum that Buffalo needs to figure out because look at how we're discussing this. And we're not even on the team. We have nothing to do with Buffalo. I could only imagine what their front office is going through right now.
Probably in shambles.
He's out here losing hair.
I do not have the facilities for this, man.
Isn't McDermott bald? It's a good thing he's bald.
I mean, it's a good discussion. I
can't wait to see this video chopped up and just see it be like an hour.
Just
the Stephon Diggs question.
Sorry, guys.
Nah, it's a good question though. Who's more important, Diggs or Josh? I mean, I think if you take Stephon Diggs away, I think it gets interesting. I'm gonna just put it like that. I think him being on the field is more valuable to Josh than him being off the field at any given point in time. So, just put it like that. All right. Let's move on to these defensive linemen top 5. If you guys are still in the chat, this is the moment we've been waiting for. These lists right here, my boys, is crazy.
If you thought there was an argument before, y'all don't know nothing.
I was gonna say, yeah. What's crazy? The defensive lineman or the running backs list?
Defensive lineman first.
The defensive lineman is definitely wackier than the running back.
Wackier, okay.
Let me just get to start it off this week, so this is going to be fun.
It's no longer rigged. Got it.
I put the names in the randomizer, and this is what came up.
Again, I want to see this randomizer.
My number 5 is going to be a name that nobody had on their list. Actually, I have 2 names on my list that nobody had.
Okay.
First one up, Javon Hargrave.
That is interesting.
See, now hold on. We talked about this list being wacky. You just started it off crazy,
bro. You're gonna have a lot of Giants fans at your head, bro. Go ahead.
Why are they gonna be at my head?
Because
what did Dexter Lawrence do that was better than Javon Hargrave this year?
Absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
Dante, I'm not gonna lie, I almost put Javon Hargrave at 5 as well, so I can understand. I'm with you on this one.
Javon Hargrave had 11 sacks this year and over 60 tackles, which is in the top echelon of players last year in totals. I get that the Eagles defense was fantastic, But every time, and I had to go back. I struggled myself on this, but when I went back, his sacks are pretty legitimate that he had got. So, taking any frustration points away from what the Eagles did, you had to include him on this list. And the same thing that I saw is the same thing that I think the 49ers believed in as well, is that he still has the ability to play defensive tackle at a very high level. And I got to give him the respect where respect is due. He's the number 5 guy. And we're talking about top 5 right now. That means going into this season and everything, I think he's the number 5 guy that's going to be in the league. Another name that you guys don't have on the list, and I think is absolutely blasphemous why you guys don't have him. He was the most important piece to their defense last year by far, which is Daron Payne for the Washington Commanders. The dude had 11 and a half sacks, 64 tackles, bro. He was absolutely incredible. I know people talk about Jonathan Allen. I know people talk about Montez Sweat, but Daron Payne had a standout year last year. And I think he's going to continue that throughout his career with the Washington Commanders. That's just my opinion. I watched a couple Commanders games last year, and he was just a force to be reckoned with. Over 300 pounds and a freaking beast. My number 3 guy, this is just out of respect, Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald had a quiet year, but like Vic had said the previous week, it was Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey on that defense. The numbers didn't match up to his production usually year to year, but this is out of respect thing. I think he's still a top 3 defensive tackle in this league, and I think that's where he'll end up by the end of this year. Quinnen Williams is my number 2. Quinnen Williams was an absolute animal last year. As well. Shout out to Don. It just took him a little bit to get going. The contract issues that are going on right now are well warranted to try to figure out how much they're actually going to pay this dude and if he's going to be good. But his projection year to year to year has been getting better and better and better as he gets more comfortable. I don't think that's slowing down. I think he's going to be either the number 2 or number 1 guy for years to come. And I think this is out of respect for what he did last year. I think he might end up number 2 by the end of the year. But Chris Jones had an amazing year last year. 15 and a half sacks. Nick Bosa had 18 and a half. And the 2 guys that were right in front of him were Myles Garrett and Hassan Reddick. So if you're talking about a sack machine that plays defensive line, it's Chris Jones all day, every day. Yeah, he's an absolute beast. So that is my list. Take it or leave it, man. So I know it's a little wacky. Any objections with my list? Throw it up there one more time.
No,
I don't hate it. But Aaron Donald, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the only one that I kind of like.
English.
It is what it is. All right, Manny.
All right. Number 5, Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, like, he's the vocal point of that Tennessee Titans defense. He opens up for guys like Harold Landry. No Arden Key just signed with them. I'm pretty sure he's going to open up for them too next year. But he is the vocal point. I mean, Rand Carthen, the new GM of the Tennessee Titans, he kept him, and he's new. I mean, he obviously kept him for a reason. Like, some GMs, like, as soon as they come in, they get rid of like half the roster because they don't fit into what they're trying to buy into that thing. And I think it shows you like that this dude is just a beast because like they kept him. I mean, you look at his numbers, like each year he just constantly gets better. And he's a loner on that defense sometimes. It's like him versus like a whole group of linemen. Like it's just like him, him and like other guys in this league, like just they're loners that just do things on their defenses and establish like how good they are. And the league kind of knows how good this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
So he's my number 5 player. My number 4 player is Cameron Hayward. I don't think like I feel like Cameron Hayward should get more respect. Um, I don't know why he doesn't get respected as much. He's been like one of the most underrated players in football for a minute now. Um, and you look at his numbers, you look at the way he plays, just like on the tape, like he's just like sneaky, like he's just there. It's not like he's like some like Aaron Donald type of player where he's just like constantly just there, but like he's just sneaky underrated with how like he gets to the quarterback. And he's a really good run stuffer. Um, I've always like valued defensive linemen in the position, and he's been one of the guys that has like kind of has been there for a solid minute now, and he's kind of just like he's been one of the best players at that position. So I have to put him there. 3, Quentin Williams. This one, I mean, uh, he's just been one of the best players at that position for like the last couple of years now. Like he's just a beast, bro. Like there's a reason this guy got picked number 3. The talent's definitely there. He was really, really good last year. Him and his brother last year for that Jets defense. He's another one of those guys. Like he knows his worth. Like
His
he came.
brother.
Yeah, his brother.
Who's his brother?
His brother's the linebacker for the Jets. You know?
Hold on.
You didn't know he had a brother?
No.
Yeah, he has a brother.
Oh, Quincy Williams is his brother?
Yeah, Quincy,
He used to be on the Jaguars.
Yes, he is. That's his brother right there.
I did not know Quincy Williams was his brother. I just learned something new. Okay, cool.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's dope.
I mean, PFF had him as one of the highest graded players last year. I mean, is there much to say? Like, he's one of the best young defensive players in football. And I expect him to have a big contract, whether it's coming up or not. It's been kind of like weird with that whole situation, but I expect something to get done. Number 2, Chris Jones. He's a really dominant player. Like, you can't just say enough good things about this guy. Like you said, as a defensive lineman, you don't see that position like evolving like with like just amount of sacks that this guy can get. Like he is one of those guys that can make a position like that what it is, because like you don't see him, or I mean you don't see defensive tackles in the league getting as much sacks as he did last year. He was one of the top guys at that and just getting pressure. If you go look back at the game against Cincinnati in the playoffs, he was a huge reason why they won that game. Like he was just constantly getting pressure on Joe Burrow. They lined him up, I think, wide, and he still got pressure on Joe Burrow. Like, yeah, I mean, he was a huge part of that reason. I'm not gonna say they don't win the Super Bowl without him, because we know who they have offensively, but he was just like a dominant player last year, and another one of those guys. PFF had high grade on him. Number 1, Aaron Donald, greatest defensive tackle ever, most dominant defensive tackle ever. It's not even a respect thing. My criteria is based off of the best overall football players, and he's still one of the best overall football players in football. I mean, like, is there anything to say? Like, he's just constantly always there. Even when you don't think he's there, he's there. I mean, Von Miller said it like best. Like, he played with so many really, really good players, and he said Aaron Donald was the best player that he ever played with. He just never turns it off. Like, he's just always there. And even last year, people said he had a down season, but if you consider that a down season, then that's a good season for guys that aren't really the best at that position. And like, he revolutionized the game, man. Like I said, it's not a respect thing. He's just always constantly getting double teamed. That's why his sack numbers aren't there with Chris Jones. And he still gets past some of those guys on the interior. That's my top 5. How y'all feeling about that?
Jeffrey Simmons, I definitely don't agree with being on this list at all. Everybody else you can make an argument for.
Jeffrey is a beast, bro. What do you mean?
He's a beast, but
He's better than Hargrave, I think. I think he's
I don't
also
see the
better.
list being that wild so far. I think there's a lot of honorable mentions that
Yeah.
we have, as in that made the top fives that other might have as honorable mentions, but solid list so far.
I think he's
Yeah.
also better than Deron Payne too. I was gonna say that, like, bro, he's
Jeffrey Simmons was better than Deron Payne last year, bro.
Well, yes,
Nah.
yes, I'm biased staying on that too. He's a better player. He's a better player, bro.
Deron Payne was better than the better defensive tackle that was on this
Who's a
team.
better player, Dante? Who's a better player? That's the question, bro. Who's a better player?
Yeah, I mean,
he's been doing his dirt, man. He's been doing work for the past couple of years. I think had he not been playing again for a small market team like Tennessee, his name might ring a little louder.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Sor. Who's your number 5?
It's funny we talk about Deron Payne because at number 5 I've got his teammate Jonathan Allen. Yes, I know Deron Payne had the. I'm trying to remember what it was. What do you have? Okay, Allen ended up finishing lower than Deron Payne's pressure, but Allen's pressure rate was still higher. 7.5 sacks, just to kind of simply just run through your face. The Eagle fans talking about like, yes, Jordan Davis. He's going to be able to push like a Mack truck, whatever, blah 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 blah. I mean, and granted, yes, Washington did have a very good defensive line as well. But even with Jonathan Allen, he was just kind of able to just push you back at will. Run defense was okay, but it was definitely a better improvement than it was 2 years ago. Last year, his run defense was a definite improvement. So, yeah, if he could continue working on that, I think he's going to be a bit higher. Number 4, I got Quinnen Williams. I mean, ever since he got drafted, like Manny said, there was a reason he was drafted number 3 overall. The fact that he was able to look good on a team led by Adam Gase right off the bat just deserves top 5. Ranked second in sacks with 12, 52 pressures, which was 8th in the league. Solid run defender. Had 32 stops. This is just a guy that kind of does his job. And also, let's not forget that this man dealt with the trade rumors. I think he got arrested at one point at like an airport or something. And again, just the biggest crime known to man, having Adam Gase as a head coach. I mean, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemies, probably. But yeah, no, Quinnen Williams, I got him at 4. At number 3, Dante's not going to like this one. Number 3, I got Jeffrey Simmons. Yeah, go ahead, Dante. Go ahead. Look, man, I'm sorry. Yes, he had 7.5 sacks, ranked 8th, 53 pressured tackles. That dude's good at run defense, though, for a defensive tackle.
I get it.
Having a strong run defense, and I mean, I hate to agree with Fridge.
Damn, who thought you'd ever say that?
I know, right? Go ahead and just cancel me now. But who on Tennessee's defensive line really kind of helped him out there?
Mm-hmm.
Harold Landry. Yeah, that's the only other guy. He's an outside backer, though. He does the same thing.
There was a reason Jeffrey Simmons became one of the highest paid defensive tackles. And again, it was also just you could tell that it was
he deserves it. Just talk about top 5.
Again, I can agree with it, but just again, just an amazing run stopper at defensive tackle, which is just again 7.5 sacks. And yes, you can say Harold Landry, but actually, wait, didn't he get injured? He got injured.
You're right.
I'm sorry. I gotta put Jeffrey Simmons. Number 2, out of respect, Aaron Donald. I mean, again, yes, dude definitely has produced, and
like
Vic said on last week's show, it was just him and Jalen Ramsey. Thank you. Mm-hmm. You could argue Leonard Floyd, but maybe. let's be real. It was mainly Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. I mean, how many other defensive tackles train with knives?
Bobby Wagner.
2 knives.
Greatest defensive
Yeah,
tackle.
no, he's definitely a top defensive tackle.
He
but
said he's something else, brother.
no, yeah. He said, "Oh, you're not training with knives. I ain't got no interest in that." But Aaron Donald, I'm sorry, it is time to pass on the crown and the throne to Chris Jones. That's who I got at number 1. Pretty much, kind of exactly what Dante said. I mean, he had
Dude's an
14 more
animal.
pressures than anybody else at like 77. Had the highest win rate. Hybrid pass rusher. Dude's only 28. He's in the prime of his life right now, man. Yeah, that dude's just going to keep improving and improving to what he did last year and the year before. So, yeah, Chris Jones, Aaron Donald, I'm sorry, but it's time to pass on the crown to Chris Jones.
All right. Any objections to Sora's list?
Like I said, man, I think everyone has good lists. I'll say this. There are a plethora of good defensive linemen, and it's hard to make a decision on who is the top 5. And you got to think about it, too. We all have kind of slightly different criteria when we think about who our top 5 is.
Yeah, I will say it's definitely not as crazy as I thought it was. Like, I was expecting somebody to be like, DeForest Buckner or something like that.
Yeah.
I had to put Donald 1, bro. Like, out of like my generation, like he's like the best player. Like, cause I've like seen like live. Or outside.
All right, Vic, start us out.
All right, man. If I'm going to start us out, you know what I'm saying? You see what's up here? I'm going to start off with an Eagle, and I'm going to put on Fletcher Cox. Wow. Don't say wow, man, because since 2012, Fletcher Cox has been the most dominant defensive lineman since Aaron Donald. He's the only other guy. He's the only two that have been competing. Yeah, last year you might say it's a down year, but got 7 sacks. Since he's been in the league, he has 366 tackles. That's more than all these guys up here. So Fletcher Cox has been a stalwart. Again, when you look at that Eagles defensive line, we all talk about that rotation, but that rotation doesn't go anywhere without Cox. We all know that because he's the major reason why we had to re-sign him last year and this year. Again, Fletcher Cox is on another team. You'll see him make that noise, but because he's on the Eagles and we see that he has a talented defensive line now, people act like he's not as good as he was. But again, look at the tape. My guy takes up double teams at one time. Again, second to Aaron Donald, had the most double teams in the NFL. So he's been doing work. So I got him at number 5.
He was supposed to sign with the Jets this offseason. That's why that whole like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson thing like got delayed, because if he like signed somewhere else, then we would keep him. But like, he almost signed with the Jets.
Hey man, Fletcher Cox is still that guy. Again, not what he was before, but he's still a great, talented player. At number 4, I got Quentin Williams. Again, a very young, talented player.
I don't know why I was half expecting Javon Hargrave. I really don't know.
I think Quentin, for all of us, he fell within, 3-4 in that range. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think anyone had him higher or lower. But yeah, Quentin Williams, man, a great defensive talent. Young, only going to get better with that line. That team's going to get better around him. He's a beast, a force of nature. And yeah, I got him at number 4. At number 3, got to show the respect to the guy, Cameron Hayward.
Yes, sir.
Again, we're talking about a season without TJ Watt, and it was a step wasn't missed. Cameron came out there. We all talked about other players that were involved on that defense, but Cameron Hayward was one of the stalwarts of that defense and held up great sack numbers, has been in the league for quite some time, and he's been producing. So that's why I got him at number 3. At number 2, a very young and up-and-coming defensive lineman, Chris Jones. He's been playing well with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's been, a stalwart on that line.
Yep.
But when you look at, everyone else on that line, he's got a little help. You might look at George Karlaftis and think he wasn't much, but as a rookie, he created a lot of pressures, helped out Jones. Now, I'm not saying anything to take away from his game, but I think that, that line kind of helps him out, supplements him, but he's still a great talent nonetheless. So Chris Jones at number 2, and at number 1, come on, man. You got to show respect to the guy, the man who will choke you out of existence.
Oh, my
Aaron Donald.
Lord.
I'm going to tell you this. As an offensive lineman, when you look at all these players on this list, Aaron Donald's the one that scares you the most. Small, but again, has an insane amount of power. He's fast. He's smart. Listen, the kid can read plays. He does it all. Can intercept if he wants, can block the pass. He gets in the passing lanes. If he wasn't on the Rams, if this Rams team wasn't so bad, again, we'd be talking about him in high praises. But again, he's on a very bad team, a very bad defense, but they still hold their own. And that's all because of Aaron Donald. And this year is going to be tough for him, but I still see him producing the same way. Again, he's still giving fits to offensive linemen. They're still focusing on him. Even as bad as that team is, you still have to account 2 offensive linemen just to take care of him. That says a lot, especially when you have a bad defense. So I'm going to give him the respect and leave him at number 1.
And like another thing that you didn't mention, like he'll like go up like wide, like if he has to, like he'll play defensive end if he has to. Like I don't know if you ever heard like the story, but Tristan Wirfs, the tackle for the Bucks, he said like he saw him come out like wide and he broke his thumb. That says a lot, bro. That dude is power. Like he's just man power, bro. Like I would not want to step in his way, bro, if I was a lineman.
And I don't see him slowing down at all right now. You know, he's right now, he's in the prime of his career.
Yes,
and
sir.
if you were to move him at defensive end, I guarantee you he'd be one of the best, if not the best in the league.
He would be so unstoppable, bro. Like
That's
if
a physical marvel. That's a talent right there. So yeah, he's my number 1 guy.
If he lined up there every single down, bro, he'd be unstoppable.
Yep. So any objections for Vic's list? The only one I really see is Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, that's the only one that
Like I said, you got to show that man respect. I'm not looking at what just happened last season. You got to look at the body of work.
I like the reasoning.
Yeah, I respect the reasoning. It's not like a hating thing. I respect it.
All right, so let's get into Don's
not that wild of a list.
Don's and Hayden's list. Go as such.
I'm still shocked by you with Hargraves. That one shocked me the most. Everyone on this list, Hargraves is the one that shocked me the most.
Yeah.
Hargraves, the only reason why he had a good season was because of that defensive line and that rotation. I want to see what he does next year with San Francisco. Because I doubt he keep that up.
I think he's going to cook next year.
Look at everything. Look at every year beforehand and look at last season. And you see a big difference.
Yeah, Hargrave is 1,000.
That was a 1-year wonder, and I guarantee you that.
Bro, he's gonna do really well with Bosa, bro. Especially with Bosa, you know he could do, bro. So him and they're just gonna go hand in hand.
Yeah. So we got for Don's list: Chris Jones, Quinnen Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Cam Hayward, and Aaron Donald.
See, this is the thing. I respect Don's criteria though, because he keeps it consistent with he goes off the stats. So I see why he has Aaron Donald at 5. But Dexter's a little too high for me, man.
Yeah, he's an honorable mention for me, but yeah,
his criteria makes sense though. I don't hate it.
Yep. And then Hayden's list goes as such.
Well, how many Packers?
Jonathan Allen, Dexter Lawrence, Quinnen Williams, Chris Jones, and Aaron Donald.
That's not bad. That's not
bad
bad
at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's pretty much the same list that I had, except for 2 players.
It is acceptable.
Yeah.
It could have been wild. All right, running backs is our next topic. Let me get myself situated here. And the person that's up is actually Sora this time.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Give me a second because
Wasn't
my
that
list or
random?
my phone. Convenient as my phone shut off. All right. Number 5. I got Josh Jacobs. Just because that man was literally the workhorse, and I expect him to be the workhorse again this year, especially with a very upset and not happy Devontae Adams. And even Josh Jacobs himself is not that happy because of the franchise tag. So this is his chance to give a big
That was the
old middle
ultimate
finger.
disrespect. I led the league in Russian franchise tag. What?
Yeah. I was pretty much, besides Devontae Adams, your entire offense. Cool story, bro. Franchise tag. All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to just pop off and give you the big old middle finger when I leave the Raiders. Number 4, again, my phone turned off. Jonathan Taylor. Again, another thing with a healthy O-line, and now he's going to be healthy. a new coach and a rookie quarterback in Anthony Richardson, yeah, I expect Jonathan Taylor to be a workhorse again.
Mhm.
You know, I'm hoping with the wide receiver core, because I know they're banged up a little bit. Did we ever get any updates on Josh Downs, by the way? Please tell me my boy's all right. Please tell me he's safe. Is he safe?
The last thing I heard is that they think it's worse than what's reported. So
No. So yeah, with the loss of Josh Downs, the Colts don't really have that strong of a wide receiver core. So yeah, Jonathan Taylor might be another workhorse. Luckily, he'll have a healthy O line and he'll actually be healthy this time. And you know, maybe catch out of the backfield from Anthony Richardson. Hopefully, I don't know. Number 3, Austin Eckler. It doesn't matter what this man's doing. You need him to be your lead rusher, he's got you. You need him to be your lead receiver, he has also got you. Also, shout out to being on my fantasy team. You saved me multiple weeks, along with Josh Jacobs. Shout out to both of y'all. I had to add both of my fantasy running backs on the list. Shout out to both of y'all. Thank you so much. But yeah, no, Austin Eckler at times was, much like Stephon Diggs, was kind of your main offensive weapon for the Chargers last year. And even then, somebody mentioned it earlier when we were talking about Broncos. The Broncos wide receiver core. Yeah, the Chargers wide receiver core ain't that healthy as well. So, yeah. You're going to see a lot of Austin Eckler. Number 2 is basically 1B to me. And I gave it to Nick Chubb. Again, it was a 1A, 1B for me with Nick Chubb. I mean, that dude's just a beast, especially with, and I don't want to say his story was part of the reason, but seeing his leg injury in college.
Yeah.
I remember watching that live and wanting to
I remember. I watched that live too.
That was.
He stepped out of bounds and that joint folded like a. It literally reminded you of a staple, bro.
Fatality screen.
His leg stapled. That was crazy.
Yeah. But even still, I mean, that dude's just amazing. Again, rushing, receiving. I think the biggest thing hurting him is just having to share the field with Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how he's going to look now that Deshaun Watson's going to have a full offseason to get back to use. They won't have to lean on him as much, but even then, he's kind of your main one of your main weapons on the Browns. And then number 1, I got to give it to Christian McCaffrey. The half year, even with the Panthers and then moving over to the Niners, man. Again, dude does everything. If you need him to throw the ball, the dude had 2 passing touchdowns this year. How many other running backs on the list had a passing touchdown? Yeah, even on the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey was still putting up numbers, and I'll give him this. I was very hesitant about Christian McCaffrey because he was always injured. This year, though, finally, you know, on a terrible Panthers roster, he stayed healthy and then didn't really show any signs of slowing down on the 49ers roster. So I expect this man to be a huge weapon for the 49ers, especially in the early season, as they won't have their QB1 in Brock Purdy, and Sam Darnold and Trey Lance are, in the words of Coach, doo-doo butt.
Well, I'm glad that you put Josh Jacobs on your list.
Yeah.
But yeah,
here comes the angry Titans fans rushing at this dude right now.
Look,
yeah, Derrick Henry not being on the list is a little weird too.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey being at number 1.
Again, McCaffrey with McCaffrey and Chubb, it's 1A, 1B to me. I think having Kareem Hunt really hurts McCaffrey. I think having Kareem Hunt hurts Chubb more than it helps him.
Well, I'll say this: the fact that he has Kareem Hunt and still produces what he does, that's wild.
Yeah.
All right. My running back number 5. This was the hardest list so far for me to make. The hardest. Because I could justify anybody being in this top 5. There's like 2 or 3 honorable mentions. But I'm going to start off with Josh Jacobs being at number 5. I don't know if he's going to produce as much as he did last year. And he seems to get a ton of touches every year. That's his only knock for me. Is like he tends to be like their only offense. But Devontae Adams being there is very, very helpful to you getting a ton of yards too. Let's not act like he didn't produce, because he was it's crazy to have two top 3 weapons in the league at their positions on the same team, and your team still sucks. Which is absolutely crazy to me. But Josh Jacobs, I think this is a respect thing for me. Him being offensive player of the year. Was he offensive player of the year, or am I bugging?
No, it was.
No, he was just a Russian title leader.
Yeah.
Him getting the Russian title, being the Russian title leader. I'm just doing this out of respect for him. I think at the end of the season he'll be at number 5. So that's where I'm gonna put him. This next one, I fought myself with. I tried to take all my bias out of it. But Jonathan Taylor being at number 4, this is another respect thing here. What's up, Jeff? This is another respect thing for me too. It's unfortunate that he got hurt last year, but the thing is I think he's going to pick off exactly where he left off when he was a healthy Jonathan Taylor. And I think Anthony Richardson is going to be fighting for his freaking life up there, and Jonathan Taylor is going to be the only bright spot. I don't think, I've been saying this all college football season, all in the off season so far. I don't think Anthony Richardson is the guy that everybody thinks he is. Yeah, he might look great right now. Practice is practice. We could talk about practice all day long for several players. Even Justin Fields. People say Justin Fields is killing it right now. I love Justin Fields, but it's practice. Everybody looks great in practice. But Jonathan Taylor, I think is going to come back. I think he can enter the top 3, but this is pinning his health, and I think I'm putting this just as a respect thing. I will tell you, spoiler alert, I don't have Derrick Henry on my list.
And you wanted to get me flack for that.
Yeah, come on. It's weird. It's weird.
Yes.
Weird.
This is who bumped him down. Off my list.
Josh Jacobs bumped him down for me.
Oh, hell no.
Austin Eckler is the person that bumped a lot of people down.
Yeah.
Do we have the same
900
list,
yards
though?
rushing, over 700 yards receiving, 18 freaking touchdowns, bruh.
Dante, I have a question.
Yes.
Are you pulling a coach right now? Are you pulling a Don? Because this is the exact same list so far.
As who?
As me.
That's him.
Nah, bro.
Oh, by the way, it's also
5 Jacobs, 4 Taylor, 3 Eckler.
Oh, wait, what? Hold up.
It was at that moment.
Sorry.
he realized.
Oh, yeah. What the hell?
Everybody at home just saw that.
Ours is very similar. Okay, I'm sorry. Jonathan Taylor was number 5. Josh Jacobs was number 4. Okay, sorry. Austin Eckler was number 3. All right, that's why I switched around.
He's dodging the coach allegations right now.
My bad.
Yes, don't think I don't see what you've done.
Nah. So I thought I was like, wait a second. Nah, Austin Eckler, number 3. He bumped a lot of people down though. 900 yards rushing, 700 yards receiving. Absolute monster, man.
Shout out to you.
18 touchdowns. He's absolutely incredible. When you look at those numbers, it's like he could damn well be number 1 on this list, to be completely honest with you. But any given Sunday, man, any given Sunday, how much is that boy Kellen Moore really going to use Austin Eckler this year? It might look totally different. So, but
I was going to say he's also one of the pound for pound one of the strongest players in football.
Yep.
Is he?
Yes.
Yeah. Go look at his workouts, bro. He's insane. He's super strong.
Oh, yeah.
Eckler is ripped.
He's
Talking about
tiny.
his legs.
No,
his-
bro.
all of it.
No, go look at his workouts. He's incredibly strong.
Yeah, bro, that dude beast, bro.
Yeah, bro. I had to second that. Manny is not lying. The dude, he could be a power lifter. I mean, he's
facts.
I don't know. I thought you were
strong.
gonna say he could be a Power Ranger.
Power Ranger, power lifter, power whatever, bro. Nintendo Power Glove, he all that, bro.
Did you see the Atari thing?
got
In there,
the
bro. We'll
power.
talk about this later.
My number 2 guy is Christian McCaffrey. What he did coming over to the 49ers, he, again, another dude that left off where he was healthy and came back and smacked me in the mouth and said, I'm still good, pal. So let's just make sure that he's still, can still keep up. But when you look at Nick Chubb's numbers,
Yes, sir.
he did more with less carries the whole year and was only 100 yards behind the leader this year. He had 40 less carries than Josh Jacobs. 40 less. And almost had better numbers than him. Mm-hmm. So carry per carry, he was there with you, Josh. Dude is a monster. Say what you want about that injury he had in college. The dude is not slowed down. Me and Manny have been talking about this for a long time, who we thought was the number one receiver.
Man.
It was, I mean, I said Jonathan Taylor, but Jonathan Taylor got to take a back seat this year. You get injured, you got to let the king step up.
Sir.
Nick Chubb is the real king that nobody talks about. He is the real king of the running back castle. It just is what it is. The dude is the most disrespected running back in the league, to be completely honest with you.
That was literally my tweet. What was it, 2 days ago? That was literally my tweet. Nick Chubb is the most disrespected running back in the NFL. The most dependable, best back in the league. I agree 1,000%.
Yep.
I'm so happy that you guys are giving him recognition. Finally.
Well, I just think, to be honest, if Jonathan Taylor was fully healthy, the tools that he possesses is better than Nick Chubb. But the consistency of Nick Chubb cannot be ignored. And when somebody gets injured, you have to, unless you're putting up triple crown numbers like Cooper Kupp, you got to trickle them down the list a little bit. I mean, I can't make the same argument for Jonathan Taylor that I can make for Cooper Kupp. I just can't. It just is not possible. So, Nick Chubb, you're the king of the running backs right now. And Derrick Henry's even got to take a back seat to you. Any objections with my list, gentlemen?
McCaffrey's too high.
Yeah, Eckler 3.
Yeah,
Eckler at 3. The dude had 1,600 yards total and 18 touchdowns. Are you kidding me?
It's literally my list minus a couple of people switch. So yeah, I got no complaints. I'm chilling. I ain't got no complaints.
Oh, sorry.
I ain't got no interest.
I ain't got no interest in it. All right, Vic, go ahead and get into your list, sir.
All right, we were just talking about the man. I see him as the upgraded improvement of what everyone wanted Darren Sproles to be. That is what Austin Eckler is. So I got him at number 5. You talked about it. The guy can get it out the backfield. He can run it through. He can do pretty much everything. But the reason why I say I keep him at number 5 is because just that he's not that guy who will be your, leading yards, your rushing yards winner. He's not going to do that. He can do everything and everything greatly. But again, he's not that typical what you consider a power back. That's not going to be Eckler. Had some injuries that did affect his speed. Hopefully, he's been playing great. He's pretty much the reason why I say San Diego is where they are. He's one of the reasons why Justin Herbert gets as much attention as he does, because let's be honest, he helps out Justin Herbert in every facet. We talked about it before. Herbert doesn't have the greatest receiving core when it comes to health. Eckler's going to help out. He does a lot. So I got him at number 5. At number 4.
Also, hold up, Vic, real quick. Can we just know that you went back to the good old days of San Diego?
Sure did. But let's be honest, when you look at Austin Eckler, that's the first thing when he came in, everyone compared him to is Darren Sproles. He's everything better than what Darren Sproles is. He is an upgraded, ridiculous version of him.
No, I agree. I'm just saying. I had
Danny Woodhead.
San Diego.
Yeah, I remember Danny Woodhead.
And Danny Woodhead.
Madden, bro. Him and like Burkhead. Yeah.
But at number 4, I have Christian McCaffrey. Now everyone else has him higher. Let's have him number 4 because we all know Christian McCaffrey had some injury issues. Again, he's played great with San Francisco. That is a great offensive line. Hopefully he can keep that going forward, but I'm not going to grade him just on one single season. At number 3, I have Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, last year was a setback, but that Colts team itself was a setback. There was no receivers. You had Carson Wentz as your starting quarterback, and it wasn't even for long. Jonathan Taylor did the best he could, but when you look at the season before, since being a rookie, he's been one of the best, if not, we questioned it before, the best running back in the league. At number 3, come on,
No
man.
quarterback, no coach, no
And
O-line. It was
doing
rough
it.
for
And this year, when
Colts.
you're talking about him with AR-15, yeah, he will be helping him out because, again, he's going to take off a lot of attention because the attention is going to be focused on that rookie quarterback. So he's going to help alleviate that pressure for AR-15. At number 2, all hail the king. I got King Henry up there. You got to give that man his respect. Taking Josh Norman and treating him like a rag doll, and everyone else in the league as a rag doll. The only reason why I had Derrick Henry at number 2 is the biggest issue. I've said this many a time. It takes him 7 to 8 games to get going. When you're talking about you're trying to get to the playoffs, trying to win a Super Bowl, you can't just have 7 or 8 games just be, fall by the wayside. That's the only issue with Henry. But once he gets going, he's like the juggernaut. Let's be honest. There's no stopping him. And if you get Derrick Henry in the playoffs, oh my Lord, it would be magnificent. But I don't see the Titans doing that anytime soon. But I still got my guy at number 2. Got to show him the respect. At number 1, and we talked about it, he is the most consistent running back in the league. People doubt him because he's on the Browns, but he has been the single bright spot. You can talk about Deshaun Watson. You can say whatever. You can talk about Baker Mayfield. But the only consistent to that team is Nick Chubb. Sora mentioned it. Having another running back may affect him. Hasn't done anything because Nick Chubb has been doing nothing but producing with what? We'll consider him a top 15 running back on the team. Someone who could be fighting for a spot but has no chance because of Nick Chubb. So I give him all the respect in the world, and I got him at number 1.
Yep. Hey, any objections with Vic's list?
No, not really. I mean, I will say the Derrick Henry, I don't mind that you put him in 2. I just know you're talking about Josh Norman ragdolling. Let's be honest, Josh Norman's been ragdolled by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's been ragdolled by me on Twitter.
It's not even ragdolling. I'll give you one instance. That Pittsburgh game when Derrick Henry was like a 3rd and 1 trying to convert. Although Henry was stopped, did you see what happened at number 41 Pittsburgh?
No,
he didn't wake up until
again.
2 plays later.
No, I know.
That man is nothing but power.
No, again, I agree, but I know you and I have had this conversation the most. It's like driving. I compare Derrick Henry to driving a stick shift. You start off in first gear. It takes a couple games to get into second, then third, then fourth, and then you got to hope that you stay in fourth gear come the playoffs. But with the division and just the AFC in general, you got to be hot right off the bat.
Yep.
And then you got to hope, you don't crash the car, aka you got to hope he doesn't get injured before the playoffs, because that's happened to him before.
That's true. Yeah. Manny, who you got?
Jonathan Taylor 5. He's one of the best backs in football. I mean, you kind of seen like what he displayed last year. Wasn't he injured this past year?
Yeah,
he was. I think he was, right?
Yeah, he was hurt like most of the season.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the reasons why his numbers weren't as like Josh Jacobs numbers, but he's one of the best overall backs in football. He could catch, he can just take over a game if he has to. I mean, the year before, he literally won games single-handedly. Like he's still a dog. He should get back to the top of this list, come no time soon. Number 4. Saquon Barkley is one no one had.
What the hell?
This is where we get wild.
This is
Yeah.
where we get wild.
Let me
Absolutely.
finish. He's super valuable
Yeah.
to that football team.
Yeah.
If you take Saquon Barkley off of the Giants, they're not the Giants. He is the factor to that offense, and it's not like I'm not gonna disrespect Daniel Jones anyway. But if he didn't have Saquon Barkley, I don't think that offense is roaming the same way it is. I mean, Saquon Barkley, he had games last year where he took over. I mean, look at the game against the Vikings in the playoffs. Like he just took over, bro. If you take Saquon Barkley out of that game, do you think they win against the Vikings? I don't think so. I just don't see how. He's very valuable to that team, and he could do some of the same things as Taylor, catch and receive, or not catch and receive, catch and run the ball. And he's another one of those guys, bro. If he sees one lane and he's gone, like
Manny
bro,
against the
he's a
Lions,
beast.
15
He's a
rushes,
beast.
22 yards.
He's
Against
a
the Cowboys,
beast,
11
One
rushes,
game,
39
that
yards.
happens to every
Against
guy.
the Eagles, 9 rushes, 28 yards.
28
What
yards.
happened-
Against
What happened
Seattle,
to the ball?
hold up. Against Seattle, 20 rushes and only 53 yards.
Derrick Henry wasn't the greatest in some games last year. Jonathan Taylor has bad games. Nick
He
Chubb.
had 4 games over
Don't you
100.
dare put Nick Chubb in this conversation.
No, not Nick Chubb.
Wait, your turn.
I was about to say Christian McCaffrey because I love Nick Chubb. I love Nick Chubb.
Sir Chubb.
Christian McCaffrey, he has bad games. It happens to every back.
Christian
Okay,
McCaffrey
he
had bad
4
games?
games. He had 4 games over 100. That's it. Only
Look at
4.
Christian McCaffrey's first game as a Niner. He did not play the best. And I
Christian
guarantee-
McCaffrey had 5 games over 100.
What was his first game looking like though as a Niner?
But
Okay.
that was with a new team.
With a new
Saquon Barkley-
system and an entirely
It's
new
like-
team.
If you're gonna bring up games that Barkley didn't do well, I mean, you could also bring up games that McCaffrey didn't do well. If you take away Saquon Barkley, like I said, from the Giants, they're not the Giants. He's a really good football player. Like you have to give him his respect. He came into the league, did work, got injured a couple times, came back this year. Most of his games, I mean, look at the game against the Packers. Like he showed how good he could be in that game. Like he's a ball player, bro. Like
I get it. I ain't gonna hold your feet to the fire on this one.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
I
a
mean,
beast, bro. He's a
it's
beast,
legit,
bro.
but he's got the Justin Jefferson syndrome.
Exactly. He
Right.
disappeared for like half the season.
Not even that. We're talking about a season after injury.
Yeah. He just
Same thing with McCaffrey.
okay,
But
but
he's
he
not
didn't
proving
appear
he's
for
the-
half the
yeah,
season.
he
You
was
mentioned
before.
like you can have bad games, but you can't be MIA for weeks in and weeks out.
I understand, but like he still showed up in the playoffs though.
I
When it
respect it.
mattered.
I respect it. Go ahead, man.
Showed
Yeah.
up in the
Go ahead.
playoffs,
Yeah,
bro.
we respect it. Go
Carry
ahead.
this football team, bro. Like, all right. Number 3, Christian McCaffrey.
Just go with it. Just go with it.
What happened? What
Listen,
happened?
we're in the deep end. Just keep swimming.
Just keep going. Just keep going.
McCaffrey's definitely number 3.
Stay afloat. Stay afloat.
I mean, I guess, like his first couple. I mean, I get it. His first game against the Chiefs wasn't the best, but he's still a really good football player. He can receive, run. Like Sora mentioned earlier, he can throw if he has to. Only game throwing wasn't great for him was against us in the NFC Championship game.
He threw 1 pass.
Bro, Sora, let me finish, bro. Tariq Woolen, number 5. This is the same guy. I'm just saying. Christian
Because he
McCaffrey
performed better than okay, whatever.
let me finish. He's a beast. And there's a reason I have him here. He's a very valuable player to his team. I get he came off an injury. He got traded to a new team. First couple of games wasn't his greatest, but he still finished off the season well. And I have to give respect to McCaffrey. Number 2, Derrick Henry. He had 1,500 yards last year with about 10 plus touchdowns. Need I say more? I mean, he's a dominant player. Like, what position do you think this guy could play? Like, if he played on defense,
Linebacker.
like he'd probably be like a
Edge
linebacker,
rusher.
Edge rusher. Yeah, bro, he has that build. Like,
He's
bro,
a straight middle linebacker.
he's a
playing on
team,
that wall.
bro. He's a tank, bro. This dude's a tank. I mean, he's very valuable to his team. Like Vic said, he sometimes starts off slow. That can hurt him, but uh, he finishes the years off well. I feel like his worst game out of the year was probably against Philly. But outside of that, he was consistent for most of the year. Number one, Nick Chubb. He's my favorite player in football. This shows no bias to him. I mean, you guys know how much I love Nick Chubb. He's a very valuable player to his team. I mean, I like the argument of Kareem Hunt being on the team also kind of hurts his numbers sometimes, but he's very consistent. He's the most consistent running back in football. That's a proven fact. I mean, every single year, it just seems like he seemingly gets better. Like I don't understand how it works. Like he's just another one of those. Like he was meant for football. He's a ball player. His numbers says that he's one of the best players at the position. And I feel like last year, if Kareem Hunt wasn't on the team, he'd have like 1,700 yards, 1,800 yards. He would have been up there with Taylor. And before the season came, Dante, you remember, bro, I was harping on Nick Chubb being a top 2 back in football. I had him over Taylor going into this season. And he's the number 1 back now. So, I mean, he's just a beast, bro. You can't say good enough things about this guy. I mean,
any objections with Manny's list? Because you didn't follow the trend of Austin Eckler at all. That boy got disrespected on your list.
You guys have an objection with me not having Eckler there and putting Barkley there, but
not having Eckler in general and definitely Barkley.
That's crazy not having Eckler in general, dog.
Because it's also wild. You're talking about the injured guys, of Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey when talking about Barkley, and then you put them over Barkley.
I'm not going to question on who you have where. I'm just going to question Saquon Barkley. That's it. He's the only one that I say
Barkley.
He's in Eckler's place,
bro. No,
he's
better.
He's better than Eckler.
One of these things
Eckler.
That's Barkley.
Yes.
No,
he can receive like Eckler, man. Stop acting
What?
like he can't.
He had like 93 yards receiving.
The checkdowns are used as much as the Chargers do.
Hold up,
I just want to take your argument. The one argument you had was if Saquon Barkley was on the Giants, would they perform as well? What you tend to forget is the fact that the reason why the Giants performed so well last season was for the fact that they had a new head coach who knew what the hell he was doing.
Yes,
that was a huge factor. If Saquon Barkley wasn't on this team, I think the Giants still could have done what they've done and made it to the playoffs.
Saquon had over 300 yards receiving. Austin Eckler had over 700.
How did they finish? But that's because the checkdowns, bro. That helps him. That literally helps him. Saquon's not out here getting a bunch of checkdowns like this man Eckler is, bro. He's a checkdown merchant, bro. Stop.
Listen, had you put
checkdown merchant
years ago,
bro, I'm sorry, bro. He gets so much checkdown.
I gotta put that on a t-shirt. A checkdown merchant.
I'm not lying, bro. This man gets a bunch of checkdowns, bro.
I think Jonathan Jacobs deserved to be on there more than Saquon Barkley.
He didn't even have Josh Jacobs.
Oh yeah.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. And I know Saquon Barkley, check out the numbers, and Kenneth Walker. Who had the better season statistically?
Was it?
Boy, because I tell you, if Kenneth Walker had more yards and touchdowns, we're gonna have a serious argument.
But Barkley's still better though. I mean, you said no. You said you don't put rookies in the top 5 though. So
but I'm saying that's why I said let me see if you're. That's why I'm bringing him up. So you're gonna tell me a rookie had a better season, and you're gonna tell me that Saquon's still top 5?
Barkley's.
Listen, man, he's a local hometown hero. No. I'm not gonna put him on that list right now.
He can receive.
2 years ago, there's no question. In 2023, bruh.
Bro, he had one of his best seasons. What are you talking about? Like, come on, man. Barkley's that dude, bro. I'm gonna give him his respect.
Let's get into Don's. Don had Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry as his number 1.
Henry 1.
Nick too low.
Yeah,
Nick
Chubb
too
at
low.
3 is ridiculous. I'm sorry, bro. No.
I get
I
Jonathan
respect
Taylor being
Henry.
at 5 because of the injury.
Yeah.
Jacobs had a good season last year.
Jacobs had
Again,
a
leader rush.
phenomenal
But
season.
the issue with Jacobs, again, I think about it is they needed him to rush the ball, first of all, but constantly fumbling the ball. My guy
Yeah.
coughs it up too damn much.
Yeah.
They won that game against Seattle because of Jacobs, though. They don't win that game
Where'd they
without him.
go? Where'd they go last season?
I understand, bro. I get it.
Hayden
Adams.
Hayden
Does he have Aaron
had
Jones in there?
no. He had Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor,
Jonathan
2,
Taylor
and
at
Nick Chubb at
2?
number 1. Wisconsin biased at number 2.
Bro, come on, bro. That's ridiculous, man.
Definitely.
He's being biased with 2.
I mean,
Nah.
this is a solid list outside of Jonathan
Yeah.
Taylor being a number 2, though.
Yeah.
If I would say switch Henry or McCaffrey, and you're good with Taylor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. His list is not wild though. It's not that wild.
Yeah,
it's not that
like
wild outside of
division.
Jonathan Taylor.
We know who really number 2 is. We can exclude number 2. We know who number 2 really is.
Yeah. I mean, all 4 of us had Nick Chubb at 1. I think that that
Jordan,
is
did you have him at 1?
show you how good Nick Chubb is.
Yeah, let's see, I don't think you had him
I
at
had,
1.
I had McCaffrey at 1.
No,
I said
I'm
it was.
saying
I said it was
Hayden,
1A, 1B.
Yeah, I'm saying Hayden, Vic, Dante, and myself had Nick Chubb at 1.
What
So
what
that's-
positions have we not done yet? We haven't done kickers, punters, quarterbacks,
Yeah, I can't wait for quarterback.
linebackers,
I honestly think that kicker
and
is funny.
safeties.
I'm gonna make so many people mad at my quarterbacks list. I don't even care.
Which list is next? Do we know?
I think we could do quarterback next.
No, we have a schedule. We're gonna follow the schedule.
No, we have a schedule. Well,
You are not Stephon Diggs. You do not get to input what is done. You are not him. Up next, linebackers, kickers.
Nice.
I've identified myself as Stephon Diggs, so I could do that.
I don't care what you identify as. It ain't happening.
No, I'm cool.
linebackers and kickers next.
Correct.
Ooh, that should be a fun one.
Sure.
That's a weird mix. But
The
hey,
kickers
Yeah,
one-
Hey, I'll put it in a randomizer. You gotta switch it up
It's like-
because you know what people do. They wait till the end to get to the quarterbacks. But it's like let's give them something different.
this
Something
is like
different.
who's the
Let's give
toughest
the-
player on the team and who's the weakest.
Let's give the people what they want. The kickers and the punters.
Yes.
Evan McPherson. No, I'm
All
playing.
right.
No, he gonna be on the list, bro.
Oh, that's Don's number 1 right there.
Mhm.
All right, Vic. Last one. We can get through this one real quick. We've been going for a little bit now, but these lists are fun,
It's
man.
time, y'all. We gotta go.
All right, Vic. Hit us with it.
Well, we'll make it quick for the last topic of the night. And as always, it's unsportsmanlike conduct. And this week, we're going to talk about the comments that Jordan Love had, rather the well wishes Jordan Love had for the Chicago Bears on Father's Day. Jordan Love went on Instagram and had some well wishes for the Bears fans. He wanted to wish them a happy Father's Day and let them know who his new daddy was. So, gentlemen, let me ask you. I'll start off with you, Manny, because you're a little sour in the face. What did you think of Jordan
That's
Love's
just his
comments?
normal
Do you
face.
think
Don't
that
let
they
him
were
fool
out
you.
of bounds?
It's hilarious, bro. I mean, I get it. It's football. Like you're gonna get this. It happens. But I don't think he should be saying this. Like if it was Rodgers, like if he was still on the Packers, I have no any type of response of him saying that. But because it's a quarterback that isn't like defined, I can't really like take this response as something that is like good, because I mean he hasn't played a whole season yet. He hasn't accomplished anything yet. He's still a quarterback that is still trying to get a couple games in as a quarterback. But I don't know how he's gonna do this here, and I don't think that's a good comment by him because the Bears are gonna do really, really well this year. I think. So I think he's fighting fire with fire on this one. So
I'm just glad
come
Dante
on,
and I
Jordan.
agreed.
Come on, Jordan. Come on, Jordan. Why are
Sora,
you?
let me
Why are
ask you.
you?
Last week, Bears Justin Jones had comments about the Packers fans, said that they didn't know much about football, pretty much called them crappy. This week, Jordan Love, out the kind of his heart, sends a thoughtful, Father's Day message to the Bears and their fans. So, do you think it was out of bounds? Is there a flag on the play? Are we offsetting penalties?
I mean, I guess you could say it was more of an offsetting penalties. I mean, it's football. It's rivalry. You know, Packers Bears are one of the top rivalries in the NFL. I mean, you get it. It's really kind of just rivalry. Unlike Justin Jones, who was like, blah 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 blah. Aaron Rodgers, didn't own us, whatever. Like this, at least is factual. Or sorry, let me rephrase that. What Aaron Rodgers has said was factual. He and the Packers did own the Bears. Now he is gone, so he owns the Bears now, but in New York. But Packers, I mean, still kind of now with the new age. Yeah, the Packers have owned the Bears. So it wasn't just Rodgers, it was the entire team because you still got key pieces there. I don't really think it was, that much. Bears have kind of always, not always, let me rephrase that. Bears for a very long time have been a sucky team. So, even with Jordan Love, even if he doesn't pan out, it's not like the Bears are going to sweep the Packers. So, again, it's rivalry. It's an old rivalry in the NFL. Jordan Love's going to get the fan base fired up and his team fired up. I like it. No penalty.
If he does bad this year, I'm gonna laugh so hard, bro. I hope the Bears just smack the Packers this year. I'm rooting for the Bears this year, but I'm so sick and tired of the Packers being good like every other year. And you know why it was because of Aaron Rodgers. So
we know you're rooting for the Bears. You have them at 12-5.
yes, that is 1,000% true.
Dante, you know more than me. Coach is always telling you we don't want that bulletin board material going out there. We talked about it. Justin Jones had his, piece to say. Jordan Love follows up with what I think is a great response.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts? Do you think that, Jordan Love was out of bounds for what he did?
I mean, I wouldn't talk junk this early when you haven't been named the official starter yet. That's the only thing I see a problem with. Because now, if you're Aaron Rodgers and have absolutely
Sean Clifford.
Official starter.
Well, he hasn't been the official starter for them because Aaron Rodgers was there for years owning the Bears. Now, yes, if he sent this Father's Day message out, this would be one thing. But this is Jordan Love that we're talking about at the end of the day that has not been given the keys to the car and said, here, this is your team now. This is his first time having the keys to the Mercedes. And you doing this, so if you lose and you get embarrassed, don't let you throw 2 or 3 picks in the game and lose the game. This is not gonna look too good for you. It's what I'm saying? You can't put the dog before the race, man. Like it's you got just slow down, young man. I don't mind it for the talking back and forth, but that's if you have actually done something against these guys to warrant that. You've inherited wins against the Bears over the years. Doesn't mean that you actually were responsible for doing this yet.
The torch has now been passed.
Yes. And
you've been given all the receipts. Add your own receipts.
I don't think the Bears is the type of team that wants to be disrespected. And then, you know what I'm saying? You got the Lions too and the Vikings. The NFC North going to be something serious. It's going to be bad for not only you, but for Hayden to find out that the Packers might be last in their division this year. Ooh, that might be a tough pill to swallow for some Green Bay fans and for the Jordan Love train to come to a screeching halt We're gonna be laughing when Sean Clifford comes in halfway through the season and replaces
That
you.
would be so
I'm gonna really
hilarious.
be laughing because I know that that's
The memes,
Bro,
bro.
I would have
The
endless
memes.
memes, bro. Like you don't understand.
Tough
I even
love.
said it. I even said it on draft night too. I was like, as soon as I heard Sean Clifford, I went, "Yep, all right."
Bro, if Clifford beats out Love in the middle of the season, bro, and the Bears do better than the Packers and do like how I expect them to do, Hayden, I'm gonna have a field day with Hayden, bro. He's gonna get cooked, bro. I'm sorry, bro. Like I actually want Clifford to start over Love, like throughout the season, bro, because that would be hilarious. Like Sean Clifford out of all people.
That is, yeah.
don't sleep
Jordan
on
Love out
Clifford,
of all
man.
people cooking.
Hey man,
Yeah.
I know one thing. That guy has some luck. He beat out Levis, and now it's time to beat out Love. But in reference to Love, I love what he did. I think it
Why
was
would
a great
Sean Clifford
response.
be good?
That dude should play the lottery, man.
Hey man, like you all said, Jordan Love inherited this team from Aaron Rodgers. So if I'm gonna inherit a team, and one of the first comments I hear is from a rival saying how my fan base is dumb, my fan base, saying doesn't know football, and they're planning on dominating us for years to come. Now I'm gonna let you know. I just signed these adoption papers. I'm your new father now. I'm gonna take care of you for the next couple of years.
No, I mean, yeah, that's what it was. It was what's his face? It was a retaliation, basically. Dude fired back.
I love it, but at the same time, like we all said, for Jordan Love, you better play up to it. It's great to talk trash. It's great to show up your team. It's motivation.
He should have printed out like a PDF of adoption paper and just signed the Bears.
Exactly. But if you don't play well, and the Bears come at you and have good game, and they're sacking you left and right, and you have a couple of interceptions, boy, they're going to be pounding you. Like, you set the precedent. But at the same time, if you're a person who likes that pressure and thrives off that pressure, then by all means, young man, keep on doing what you're doing. But like we're all saying here, your play better match up with what you're saying. Because if not, get ready for a rough season.
Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He could say stuff like that. Jordan Love is not, he's not refined.
He's not him yet. He's not
he's
him.
not that guy yet. He's not Aaron Rodgers status yet.
Hey man, we appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight.
I haven't heard this in a minute.
Oh, that's true. Hey man,
that hat is in its own solitude right now.
Yeah, I'm very Syracuse today.
Hey man, we appreciate everybody tonight. I'm drinking a seltzer water. What's everybody else drinking on?
I'm about to get some fruit punch.
So you about to get some fruit punch? Oh man, we appreciate everybody in the comment section tonight. We know this is a long one. But
Stephon Diggs.
The lists are almost over. We're halfway through them. They're almost over. Not next week, but the week after, we're gonna be in Myrtle Beach and we're gonna do this live and direct. So it's gonna be fun, man.
That's gonna be fun, bro.
That's gonna be ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I need to get to the quarterback one before that.
Just wait, man. I'm gonna have the whole setup. I'm bringing a suitcase full of goodies.
Hayden was crazy before.
Bro, them football videos, I can't wait for them.
Yeah,
the
I
live
don't.
video.
I've already called nose goes. I'm thinking what we were doing. We put Fishing and Hayden in the same room because they both want to wake up at 30 to go fish. I said we just let them do that. And if they, if Hayden falls in the river, he falls in the river.
Facts. Hey man, this is everybody's favorite couch quarterback.
Stiff arm him off the dock.
Dante here, my man Manny 2 times, Papa Sora, and Vic 3. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you guys next week.
What is that? What is that, Dante? What is that?
You literally just
That
threw
is
a-
you being wrong about Saquon Barkley. That's what that is.